Hey everyone, this is Kumar speaking. I'm really happy to welcome you all to the Cinemakaarargal Roundtable 2025. I'm really excited and happy to see you all. So, to all our viewers, give a little intro about yourself, your name, your background, where you're coming from, and why you are here today. So, let's begin with Ashwin.
Hello, Kumaran Kulam. My name is Ashwin, and a day job I'm an engineer, but on the side I'm developing a video game. And the game takes place in like South India, which is like our roots, right? But I'm also just very interested in Tamil cinema, and may have seen me in last year's roundtable as well, because there's been a lot of movies that have come out in 2025, and I definitely wanted to take this to this forum to discuss like what Tamil cinema has been in 2025 and where it could be heading, what they could be doing, and etc. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Vignesh. Currently situated in Florida. Grew up in California. Raised in America. I was initially born in Chennai. Big fan of Tamil movies. Tend to watch almost all of them. This year was a little bit more tough, but looking forward to just coming on here, talking Tamil cinema with all of you guys, and have a good time for the next couple of hours.
Guys, I'm Ashwin Prabhu. I am currently a fourth year college student doing engineering in the Bay Area, California. Born and raised here. I am a huge fan of cinema, huge fan of Thalapathy Vijay. I actually bummed out that I couldn't make the Thalapathy Roundtable, but I'm glad to be here meeting you guys. So it's my first time, and we're going to have fun.
முதல்ல என் நண்பன் குமரனுக்கும் இங்கே வருகை தந்திருக்கும் சினிமாக்காரர்கள் குடும்பத்தாளர்கள் அனைவருக்கும் என்னுடைய மனமார்ந்த வணக்கங்களையும் நன்றிகளையும் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். உங்கள் விக்கி. As you can see, I love voicing out. Now a voice actor plus film actor and எல்லாம். So that passion, that line of work for me came from my love of cinema since I was a kid. My dad and I, we bonded over plenty of things. Music and cinema was one of the main things. From a kid, he would take me to many movie theaters, even for example, we were talking about Padayappa earlier. He took me, I remember 25, 26 years ago, he took me to Dollar Cinema in Montreal to watch Padayappa. I still vividly remember that experience. One of my core memories, you can say, even. Being captivated by the world, by the story that they created, it just fueled my passion further. And since then, I've wanted to be a part of stories like that, be part of a variety of stories, doing different kinds of characters and it just kept growing over the years. So that's what I strive to do a lot. Besides that, by day I work as an interpreter, a translator at schools, courts, mainly courts, hospitals like that. So I translate from French and English to Tamil like that for many different clients. So I have a day job, and on the side now, and hopefully in the future, full time, I strive to be an actor.
Hey everyone, thank you for having me. It's my first time being in this roundtable. I'm by day. I work in the animation VFX industry. Currently unemployed because the industry's standards, but that's what I do for a living. And on the side, I'm a filmmaker, director, producer, and writer. Currently working on my third short film with Vijay as my leading actor and Kumaran's co-producing. The trifecta right here. I'm really excited to say that like I got to work with these two guys, and I'm excited for the new project. Why I'm here, I want to talk about movies. I love movies. I can sit here and talk for hours about movies, so I just wanted to do that. So let's do it.
Thank you all so much. I really loved hearing your intros. It's really amazing having you all, and that's the beauty of having doing a roundtable. Like it's gathering people together, speak about something that unites all of us. We're coming from different backgrounds, different places around the world, and cinema is uniting all of us. Cinemakaarargal, it's meant to be a platform to unite Tamil creatives around the world, and I'm really glad to have you all. So to begin with, of course, 2025 is nearing its end, and it's it has been definitely a year filled with a lot of ups and downs. And movie wise, we have seen a lot of surprises and a lot of disappointments. So looking back at 2025, what is that one film or one song or one performance that you feel represents the year?
I think the perfect movie that represents 2025 for me, it's a weird movie to say, but I think it's perfectly represented in my own funny, weird way. Good, Bad, and Ugly, GBU, because it was insane. It didn't make sense, but it was a fun ride. So I think that perfectly represents 2025 for me as a whole. I think even this, I think both AK films represent one way or another. Vidal Muichi and GBU, and I'm not even an AK fan, but I think 2025 represents both ways in those two films. I think the title of Vidal Muichi and also, of course, the song Patikiche, like that song was my top song of 2025 on Spotify, and it's for a reason because I think this year was a tough year for me and like building myself up and all these things on that level. And as being as a filmmaker as I am, I saw a lot of losses and I saw a many win this year. So, and I think GBU same way. It's like it's crazy. It was insane. None of it made sense, and like a lot of Blackie screaming a song in the corner, but it was just it was a great ride and it was a fun time. So I enjoyed it. So I guess that's the best way to put it. Yeah.
So for me, I think I'd go with Coolie. And the reason I go with Coolie is because obviously it's always great to watch Rajinikanth on screen. But then this is also like, marking a milestone for him.
Mm-hmm.
But that tone was also there in like the actors that we typically consider as like the mass element actors, right? After Rajini, we saw Vijay and Ajith rise. And in a sense, like Coolie was a movie that you can go back and enjoy that, especially knowing that Vijay is exiting the industry, and Ajit has also transitioned more into racing. So it's like the mass elements, and like it's almost like for me it was like, okay, maybe we don't have too many of these movies left in the canon. Maybe it's a dying breed. So for me, that was something that I would say was a representation of 2025. Like maybe that one year where like you're getting the last bit of mass movies, and the best one to come out this year was Coolie in that element. So
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Vignesh. I think Coolie was like that was like the highlight of the year, if I'm being honest, because it's like it's crazy when you think about it. It's like when you have like two stars like Vijay and Ajit who are like pretty big in the industry right now. Rajini is still able to like dominate after 50 years in the industry. It's number 5, I think, popular movie in the country. And another thing I wanted to say is, I think music wise, I think Anirudh has still that dominance in terms of like, making music for big movies and obviously making good music as well. And we have these songs like Monica, Chikadu. Those two songs went like, they absolutely did really well. Have like crazy stats on Spotify and all that. So I think, yeah, I have to agree. Like Coolie was probably like the highlight of the year. Since then, there was also no Thalapathy Vijay release, so I think I'd have to agree with that.
I'll have to probably piggyback on both Prabhu and Vignesh here. I'd like to add, I think the Powerhouse X Disco theme was probably the highlight. I guess like it was just the highlight moment of the movie, and maybe there was just like I think this year, apart from Coolie, there was like also Retro and I guess Thug Life, like these like other larger than life movies. So I guess like that Powerhouse X Disco theme kind of encapsulates that a little bit, but Yeah, I don't know. Like it's, I never, to be honest, I never really thought of it, thought of this question. Because there was just like a lot of trends, right? There was the beginning of the year, there was the Batikuchu song, and then Good Bad Ugly song, and then there was Hey Kanima, and then there was Jingacha, and then you had the Monica song. You had a lot of different vibes this year. But if I had to narrow it down, maybe the Powerhouse X Disco theme slash Coolie kind of represents 2025.
Thug Life is the movie that represents for me the most this year. Ulaganayakan Kamal Haasan, Mani Ratnam. Adu Kamal Haasan wrote this movie along with Mani Ratnam. There was so much we expected from it. And then when they, last year or the year before, when they released the whole title reveal teaser, the one with Kamal Haasan fighting in the desert and everything, yavlo hyped no? Like, the concept looked amazing. Kamal looked great. The fighting, the BGM, everything was just like, okay, Kamal's going to think something a little bit fantastical, something metaphorical. ஒரு ஆங்கிலி படம் பார்க்குற மாதிரி ஒரு ஃபீல் வரும்னு நினைச்சு நம்பி நான் போனேன்.
I've noticed the common answers were, of course, Coolie and the songs, the album. I think Coolie represents a lot of the trendy things that happened this year, especially with Monica, Powerhouse, GBU, for instance, started a lot of discussions about what Tamil cinema is going towards. Yeah, do you have something? Yeah.
I have one point out. There's other, I don't know if this counts as a small movie at this point now, but one that I really, really enjoyed so much this year was Dragon.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Like the story in that, how they structured it, how they told it. What my modern at the same time, it had a really good story. And they didn't bother to pander to any like pan-Indian appeal or anything. They just stuck with the story. They just wanted to make a good ride with good characters and everything. And the mighty glimmers of hope irukku, I believe, in Tamil cinema still. So it's just that we have to reflect on our roots and see, get back to the basics. That is, I think, something we should do going forward.
Because what works with tourist family and films like Dragon and those smaller films is that they are not doing what bigger films are doing, is chasing a trend. The problem is that everyone's trying to do the latest like dance, like the hook dance or whatever, the hook step, whatever that is. That's why Monica blasted like to skyrocketed because it had a hook step that it clicked with. You have Pooja Hegde running the song. It was weird for all of us are Lokesh fans. We understand that it's weird that we saw Lokesh do an item song randomly in a film. We never saw that before. So, and it's Sun Pictures attached to it. So that they wanted to send a trend. And that's the biggest problem with Tamil cinema. And I think that's why it was such a cursed year for us this year, is because not like Malayalam cinema or Telugu cinema, because Telugu cinema knows where they are. Like they know, like this is what we do. This is our business. This is how we run things. And that's fun. Fine. And Kannada cinema, they're doing their own thing. Like they have their identities. Tamil cinema, we're just chasing trends. We're trying to trace that. The next TikTok high, the next Instagram reel. And that's the biggest problem. Like, but Tourist Family didn't need that. Dragon didn't need that. Dude didn't even need that. Dude became popular because of Saya Bigel. But it wasn't like, it didn't need those type of things. Because even like when you watch the song, like Urum Blood, when you watch the song, there's no hook step. There's nothing like that. I mean, there is a standout moment, but it's nothing that was viral. Like, we're going to go viral with this. It was more like, we're just going to make the song and like everyone will embrace it kind of thing. And I think I will add one more movie, like Illikada. Illikada had that really great song. I don't remember the title of the song, but it's like that one popular song in the whole film. And it...
The one with Dhanush sang, right? The Yenjami Tandani.
Yeah, exactly. That song. Yeah. See, that song, why it worked, it's because it was the heart of the film and it just transferred to a lot of people. And I think they didn't care. Like, Andalush wasn't thinking about, oh, this is going to be my next hit. He was like, let's just do songs that fit the film versus have a song adjacent to the film. And I think that's the biggest problem with 2025 as a whole. Like,
I think with 2025, one thing that I've noticed, you see, like, in like 2019 when like movies like Pirta came out, or like in 2021 like when like Master came out, or you know like before that Qaidi came out, right? It gave me hope, you know, looking at these directors like Lokesh Kanagaraj, Karthik Subbaraj, how they could use like mass masala or like this really big star, but you know, innovate on how Tamil movie like stories are told and stuff like that. It gave me hope for better future for the industry. But this year kind of showed like, you know, with like Coolie especially, Good, Bad, Ugly, and you know, some of these movies where it feels like the producers or whoever, they are chasing first day sales, right? They just want people to kind of come into the movies on the first day, and you know that's like their most safest bet, I guess. And so they kind of designed the movie for them. But I feel like they should, you know, they could design like a movie that you know just stands the test of time, right? For example, even if you know, like an example from like Hollywood, take like Stranger Things for example. I know it's like in season, but um, I think when that series first came out, nobody really knew what it was about. You know, it didn't really catch on, and then you know, or yeah, it didn't have that like hype when season one came out. In fact, I only found out about it after season two. But now you see like it's just like a world event basically right now, right? And so you know, all I'm saying is like I think if Tamil cinema wants to become bigger, I think they should make movies that and TV shows and etc. that like kind of stand the test of time, you know, make people really talk about the movie afterwards. You know, make it like a big cultural like sort of shift. Yeah, that's what I'd like to see from Tamil cinema. And yeah, this year just did not deliver on that front. So yeah.
Yeah, Vignesh.
Yeah, so like when we say Tamil cinema, if it wants to be bigger, like it also has to be defined, right? What do we mean by bigger? Because I feel like the movies like Coolie and the movies like Vidamush and GBU, like if you're looking at box office numbers and so forth, like Tamil industry performs miles better than like any box office movie in Malayalam. But Malayalam industry produces solid movies, but it's a much smaller industry. So when we say if Tamil industry wants to go bigger, we also have to look at the context of what bigger is in India right now. It's like box office collections and whatnot. If that's what we're looking at, Bollywood movies and Tollywood movies, to Sean's point, they know what they're doing. They know, okay, we're going to go make a very commercial product and we're going to sell a very commercial product, right? So I think one of the things I want to point out actually, when you guys are saying that, I don't think it was that bad of a year for 20. I mean, like for Tamil cinema in 2025. I think like it's actually a flip. I think what it was a time for Tamil audience to take a seat back and then think about what they want to hype up and what they don't want to hype up. In this year, what I saw was there was so much hype to Thug Life, there was so much hype to Coolie, so much hype to GBU and so forth. And when those movies didn't perform to that hype, it's like magical hype that we built in our own heads, we felt like the movie fell. But then when you take a movie like Tourist Family, where like everyone just wanted to go in, just have like a relaxed viewing, they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Right. So and like this goes with the trends and all that stuff too, right? Like dropping a song 2-3 months before, like a Monica song, 2-3 months before, gets you talking about that movie, gets you that vibe, gets you like hyped up, and you're getting hyped up for 3 months. And I feel like over time, over the last couple of years, one thing I've realized is the Tamil audience has started hyping up movies to a point where the movie cannot live up to its expectations. So, yeah, the industry has to take a seat back and look back at like, kind of what type of movies they're putting out. And like the big stars do need to think about that too. But then like when you get a Sun Pictures coming in or a Leica Pictures coming in, they're looking at monetary value. They're going to want a Monica song. They're going to want something commercial. And so like when they're paying, for instance, Jana, I think he's saying like 250 crores, right? If you're making that level of investment, the first thing you think about right off the bat is how am I going to get that investment back? It has to have some of these elements in it. So you're starting off in a bad place. And there was somebody, I forgot who it is in industries, that said that maybe the main actor should take less money because it allows like the producers to produce a better product. And that is very true, especially when you say, okay, I'm already investing 200 crores in the main actor. After that, it's like the director and all the supporting actors. And you had to put up like a set and all that stuff. So like we kind of create like an atmosphere where we're pushing producers towards making these type of movies. But then when they fall short, we're like, oh my God, that movie is disappointing. So I think the Tamil audience also has to take a step back. And as far as the trend, I think the trend was there, like trending stuff was there across all facets, right? Like you take Dude. Yeah, they didn't like put in like a trend thing, but then like that wedding song where she dances, that became something that trended. And like everyone on Instagram is now dancing that step, right? And then same thing with To His Family, when a little boy dances, that started trending too. So those elements are there in all the movies. It's just that when we think about like a Coolie or we think about a Vidam Virchi or Thug Life, especially like Mani Ratnam Kamal Haasan, oh my God, it's going to be crazy. I think like that's where we're going wrong. I think a movie like Bison, it was a great movie. Was a movie that was fantastic. One of the better movies that I've seen in recent years. So 2025 had those type of movies too. It's just that we never got hyped up by it. So 2025, in my opinion, wasn't that bad. It's just the ones that we were looking forward to didn't deliver what we were looking forward to.
I don't know. I feel like each cinema, each industry has their own special thing going on. Like Malayalam cinema, patina, we can rely on it for really good, grounded, story-based, character-based content on a padanga vandu. We can rely on Malayalam cinema for that.
Yeah.
It can be colorful. It can be a little bit commercial, like Puli Murugan and Avesham. But at the same time, we can expect a Thodarum, a Hridaya Purvam, Bangalore Days, or whatever like that. And we can still get entertained. At the same time, we get a great story out of it. Telugu cinema vandu, they're great on production, large-scale productions. Like, it's not just the Bahubali. Like, even if you go out to the 90s, we have Bhairo Deepam with Balia, which is a good movie, not the typical Balia movie. With Chiranjeevi, there's like, Jagadigi Viruda Adi Loka Sundari, Chudalani Undi, etc. Indra, like that. So when it comes to large-scale mass commercial movies, big production values, big set pieces, like Maya Bazaar, like that, they made it and they excelled at it. Bollywood is also about establishing the formula and getting the global appeal. Tamil cinema, and Kannada cinema, they, I don't know about in the past, but they had the whole nativity thing that they had working with them. And even now with Kantara thing, like tapping to the old native roots and they worked really well. Tamil cinema, I feel like what we did really well was like balance all these elements, but at the same time, go into territories that others wouldn't go to. K. Balachandra would make, like, which other industry would we see a movie like what K. Balachandra made? Apurva Ragangal. Where else would you see a kind of story, that kind of a story?
Yeah.
Or say at even more contemporary ones, like say in the oppression suppression solid troll panangli and the mari caste based discrimination based padanga vandu like we don't see that much in other places.
The ones directed by Paranjit or
Marisarvaraj. Or even the ones that touch on the Ilangai conflict, like say a bit Tenali, Kanathu Muttumetta, like those. The movies that they dare to risk causing like huge opinions at the same time, they ask the big questions. They take the big leaps, the big experiments. Work out illiyo, they'll dare to do it. And the mari daring attitude vandu Tamil cinema ku nariya irunduchu. And the attitude vandu for a while Tamil cinema I feel like has been going quite tame with that. And like even I've been in the past we heard like Coolie vandappa we heard like crazy fan theories like Rajini. Like when the title teaser came out, we saw Rajini playing a more negative character, like the whole title card being red. I thought that Rajini was going to play like a villain Tanamani hero, which I was so hyped for. And then it was all about gold smuggling and maybe a little bit of time travel, de-aging, or, age suspension or whatever. When we had Yendran back in 2010, after that movie, we all felt that Tamil cinema would go that direction. We can take these all kind of wacky stories and then we would do that. Mahaviran did something like that. A cartoonist gets superpowers where he has a voice in his head guiding him to fight, like Spider Sense Madri.
Mm-hmm.
We had that. Mandela, the Madonna Ashwin's previous movie about a whole village being split by that one vote that Yogi Babu has. அது ஒரு கதை. அந்த மாதிரி வித்தியாசமான கதை இருக்கு. Coolie, I'll say this. I imagined in the beginning Coolie would be something like that. Rajini playing a negative hero. If anything is going to fight for the coolies, but going to be doing a really shady, almost criminal way. And then it involves some wacky stuff in it as well, like maybe sci-fi and adala illadum bodu when it came to be just a normal revenge story. I was a bit disappointed, but then again, in the end, how they executed it was a bit almost in the Vikram territory. And then we had like the surprise villain Kalyani like that, so I was cool with that. I feel like Tamil cinema should gain back that confidence to go wild, go experimental, ask the tough questions, go on the wacky territory. They tried a bit of that with Mark Antony, the whole time travel phone thing.
Well, I think one point that I really liked about what you pretty much said is that among the South Indian film industries, Tamil cinema has a very unique voice. Tamil cinema is able to do the films that Telugu cinema does. And Tamil cinema is still able to do smaller films like Malayalam cinema does. But the problem in our industry is there's a disparity, and of course this issue of salary issues, box office numbers not meeting the expectations. So we have plenty of issues like that.
When Mahabharata came out, everyone came out like, oh, it's Sumaram Padam, like it's Mokka, whatever. Like they said all these things. Like it was mixed to good to negative. It was like really weird. But but when it came on OTT, like a lot like Mira again, it became such a hype. It became such a thing. And I remember when Loka came out this year. That's the one film I have still yet to see. I really need to watch. I want to watch it before the year ends. But I remember when I gotta watch it.
Absolutely must watch.
I'm like trying to get Hotstar just to watch it. Just I'll watch it. But I was watching. I remember when Loka came out. I was like, oh, Loka, finally a superhero film in like South India and all these things. I'm like, we have a superhero film. We had Mahabharata. If not, let's go further back. It may not be a great film, but it was a pretty cool movie from Miskin called Mugamudi. We did it. So. Mukamudi was still fun. It was still like an interesting plot. If you watch it, it's like a really interesting. Like the way they did it was weird, but the story was interesting, right? Like this guy just like picking up the mask and trying to help people. So what it is with Tamil cinema that ruins itself is that it tries to figure out. I think as of late, it's trying to it forgot its roots, and it's trying to do something that's not against its own roots, which is we're trendsetters. We're the ones that are the leading, Okudu Gilly. Gilly is it's the same film, same remake, but Gilly stands the test of time. Okudu is not as much. Pokadi, we had the Mahesh Babu Pokadi, we have Vijay's Pokadi. So it's always that we're always the standard. That's why everyone looks at us, Kamal and Rajinikanth. Like, oh, Kamal is one of our heroes, because we're the trendsetters. And now that we're dropping the ball, it looks like we can't do what we used to do, which is make great movies. When we say Sumana Panam, this Panam, that Panam, our brain, I think as audiences, we're expecting so much to come out of these films, but we're not thinking about how our filmmakers are making movies now. It's like Lokesh made Coolie, and because it didn't live up to that hype or the hype that we built up in our heads and like forgetting our routes, we're like, oh, no, now Lokesh is written off now. Whenever now Lokesh anything signed up, oh, Lokesh is going to be bad. But he gave us 5 films. So are we the ones that making our filmmakers slip up? Because we as audience members are not accepting what we're doing. Like to Vijay's point, we used to have like these crazy movies where they'll go for it. But we as audience members, are we supporting that? See, when Endida came out, everyone praised Endida. It was amazing, right? And then Shankar does, a game changer, Indian 2. And it's his fault. I mean, he made pretty bad films. But at the same time, as audience members, like, oh, since he made those 2, everything else he did, forget about it. As Mokkapadam, and that's our us. So it's just it's the trade-off between as audience members, what do we give to the directors and the filmmakers and the producers? We're protesting with our money, right? It's our choices from our end. So what do we want is the key. So if we're not going to go watch a tourist family, they're not going to make tourist families. But we're going to watch a film like Kaidi. Hence why they make Kaidi films forever through all 4 industries. Ever since Kaidi and KGF came out, all 4 industries, like, I want to make a Marco. I'm going to make what was the film in Hindi that was like mossy, like bloody and all that stuff? I forgot. Animal. Like, we're going to make, this is our stuff now. This is what we're going to do from now on. But we as audience members, we're tired of this. We want stories. Tell people on stories. We grew up on stories. I was watching Munduchi yesterday, and I'm like, this is a story. Like, what happened to that for us? Like, we're storytellers. That's what we do. So it's such a weird thing that we're in this realm of like audiences and filmmakers and producers. We're such in a vortex that we just don't know what we're doing. It's just like the hand doesn't know what the left hand is not knowing what the right hand is doing, and that's the weird part about 2025.
But would you say that's an absolute absence of that in 2025 compared to previous years, or are we just going back to the same Coolie thug life and then basing
I
the
think
conversation on that?
I think when I'm
Because
looking, sorry, I was no,
like
go
a
ahead, go
three
ahead.
BHK, a three BHK, Bison, Tourist Family, all of these movies like focused on like a very family centric, like family
Of
dynamic.
course, yeah,
So those movies did exist. I feel like, and this is the thing that like we got to be aware of. And when I was talking about a Tamil audience, is that like the producers are making these movies to get a profit, right? And they do certain things leading up to that movie, which we fall for, like the marketing, the songs that they release up front, the first release songs and everything that builds it up. But then like you take a Tourist Family, there was not any of that, right? So like you're going in with like an open expectation.
exactly,
So like we need to take a step back and be like, okay, Monica's song is good. It doesn't mean Coolie's going to be great,
exactly,
right?
yeah,
Like getting carried away.
yeah,
Thug Life. So my thing with Thug Life is that like even though we expected a lot from Mani Ratnam, one thing when I watched it, it felt like you could tell that it wasn't Mani Ratnam's story, and he felt like he's directing something that he's not connected to, and there was a
yeah,
disjoint
yeah,
between the
agreed.
story and the direction. There was a big disjoint, and it was like it felt like it was foreign for Mani Ratnam that movie. Whereas like the previous movies that he's done, he's co-written, and like he's been hands-on with the story, screenplay. He'll bring in his wife or he'll bring in somebody else, but then like he's always involved in the process. This you could tell it was like Kamal Haasan thought of something. He wanted Mani Ratnam to do it, and there was no like
There was no connective tissue. Yeah,
yeah.
because like if you watch the first 20 minutes of Thug Life, that's Nayagan. Like
Yes.
that is a phenomenal piece of film. Like, I'm like, this is phenomenal. And I don't know what happened after, and the disconnect is there. But I think that to add on to your point, Vignesh, like the thing is, we as an audience, we're watching. I mean, me as a guy who lives in Montreal, and it's like super expensive. I rarely go to the theater sometimes because it's just way too expensive here. And that's a city thing. But we pay with our monies. We want the films we want, and so these big stars, if you're gonna make film, like we as film fans, we're gonna watch the 3BHK. We're gonna watch Tourist Family. We're gonna watch Dude and Dragon and A Bad Girl and all these films because we're fans. We love that stuff. But the average going audiences, they're going for the big star, who Vijay is or Rajini is, who Kamal is. And it's not up to them to be like, I want to choose a script that's, hits the moral compass of the country. They don't have to do that. But filmmakers, they have to make that decision. What do we want to make as films to help, like, to make movies, to make films, like, oh, like location. Okay, for example, and I know we're like recycling Coolie, but Coolie, for example, we're talking about Lokesh Kanagaraj, the guy who gave us Kaidi, who gave us Master, who gave us Leo, besides his Flashback, which was a good action film. This is the man we're talking about, and he made us Coolie. So what fingerprints are we looking at here? Are we looking at Sun Pictures fingerprints? Are we looking at Rajinikanth's choices? Are we looking at Lokesh's choices? Are we looking at bad writing? Are we looking at what's the issue here? But like you said, we got a really good Monica song. You have Rajinikanth, you have Anirudh, you have Lokesh. So the design is there. What was missing? It's either the writing or the production company wanted more things. Like I was saying one thing when I was coming out of Coolie. This is Sun Pictures all over it. You could feel it. Sun Pictures, the fingerprints were all over it. Random song, like the Monica song alone. As much as I enjoyed it, it was so randomly placed. Like it was like weird.
Yeah.
One moment Shubin's dancing with it, the other moment she's gone. Like it's such a weird thing. So it's like, so what are producers wanting to put their money back the money? Because Sun Pictures, who put this much money on Coolie, could make 3 different Tourist Families with the same amount of money. And with Rajinikanth, if they wanted to. So what is it? Because let's go back a bit. Jailer did the same thing. Jailer was trends. It's just trends. Like as a film, it's fun. As a Rajinikanth fan, I had enjoyed it. It was fun to watch my man like go do his things. But what's the story? What's the filmmaking here? Visuals are beautiful, but cinema's beyond visuals. It's more constructive. So it's like I'm. It sounds like I'm in disagreement with Vignesh, but I agree with them 100%. Like it's really where we're putting our money and what we as audience are expecting, and what like what we're putting our money towards and what production companies are expecting films to be. And I think as overall arc, if you look at 2025, you have really good films that came out on OTT and became big versus being big in the theaters alone. If you really think about it, right? Like Tourist Family was a huge thing in cinema. That was like a huge none of us expected that to be such a huge thing in theaters. But Maya Leguin, which came out in 2024, did not do well in theaters, but did phenomenal in OTT. So we as monuments, like I was saying, like we as either we have to make the choice of I'm going to actually pay and watch these small movies so that the producers like Sun Pictures, like what else, like Seven Gems, all these guys look and like, hey, we want to make those type of films because these are making money now. So it's a choice of an audience member to make that call as well. But there's also another problem with our audiences is, yo, I heard the movie's bad, so I'm not gonna go see it.
Herd mentality.
I hate that mentality. Yo, I heard Melagan smarter than Kurtanan. Like, it's okay, I'm not gonna see it. So you're making the judgment call because someone else told you it was bad, and ergo you're not gonna go see it. I'm just gonna watch it for free on like townrockers.net, before Vishal cancels the page. I'm gonna go watch it. Like it's like that stupidity is irritating as well because I feel like Tamil cinema, I think Indian cinema, Indian film watchers as a whole, we respect Hollywood more than we respect our own industries. Because if a Leonardo DiCaprio is releasing one bad after another, yo, I gotta go see it, bro. Like it's amazing. Like I don't care what people say, I'm gonna go see it. If Mani Ratnam was like, I'm gonna do another Anjali, no one's gonna go see it. Like, it looks stupid kid. Like I'm not gonna watch it. Like what the hell? I heard it was bad. It's okay.
Fan culture. How do you see fan culture today in 2025? Because whatever you all brought up links to fan culture, word of mouth, toxic fan wars, spreading negative reviews. Like Coolie, Coolie is definitely didn't meet the expectations for sure. There's no doubt because people were creating a lot of fan theories. People expected the film to be a science fiction, time travel. Beside all that, the film came out and the amount of troll that Lokesh Kanagaraj faced was insane. And even today, Lokesh has been written off. Like they said, Kaidi 2 is cancelled. His film with Amir Khan is cancelled. So personal attacks. These are things that we even saw last year with Kanguva, with Indian 2. Yes, those films weren't that good, but is cinema becoming a medium where people can deliberately attack celebrities, people?
We all watch Marvel movies and DC movies and Star Wars movies. So I grew up around toxic fandom, and the thing is with those fandoms, it sticks with that one sect. Like we're Star Wars fans, we're the worst toxic people out there to like we love things. Marvel stays with them, DC stays with their own people. With the problem with South Indian cinema as a whole or Indian cinema, it's like fandom is the art form. It's like one slight mistake, you're the worst director ever. There's no mercy, there's no grace period, there's no like, oh, let's give the guy he slipped up once. He gave me 5 great movies, he did one bad movie. And Lokesh is a prime. That was the one of the things I think I've talked about like with some friends was like when Lokesh messed up with Coolie, I knew this was coming. The floodstorm was going to come because people. I think the point I would say, and maybe I'm biased my own point of view, but like we as brown people tend to wait for failure because we jump on failure versus jumping on success. That's how we are as people. So we program that way and it affects us as we're going to watch films. Like Thug Life failed. Oh, Maniratnam can't direct, bro. He sucks. He's worse. The man who gave you Nayagan, the guy who gave you Thalapathy, that's the one you're talking about? So it's because he gave us 2 bad movies in a couple of years doesn't make him a bad filmmaker. It's just a slip up. We all have bad days of The Office, which just sucks. And it's like just this pouring of terrible hate.
I just wanted to say, like, I think part of the reason is biases. I think you see, for example, like Ajith fans, Vijay fans, they just have this history of always being against each other, always making fun of each other. And now this whole new thing about Rajini fans and Vijay fans as well. There are some Vijay fans that say some crazy things about Rajini, and then vice versa. I think it's just biases. That's one of the things. And then also, one of you guys brought up Konguva. For example, in that movie, of course, it wasn't a really good movie, and we all know that. And it's okay to criticize it, constructive criticism. But I think there's fans like, I don't know if you guys remember, there's this one Surya fan that openly started like insulting Surya, the director, like a lot of insults and stuff. So I think it's become easy for fans to become toxic. They think it's okay to openly just go and absolutely bash an actor or director. And I think they're not taught to give constructive criticism. So I think mainly it's also, or one of the main things is biases, or like my favorite actor is better than yours, and all that stuff like that.
I think where that comes from, it's like this really, it's like this mindset that it's really hard to build up a good reputation. Like that takes years, time. But once you, but it's really easy to just knock it off like in one day, knock that reputation all the way down. And you know, I think like with Lokesh Kanagaraj, he's made his past films were pretty stellar, but what does happen too is that it's just it's either he's losing momentum or the audience is expecting something even more each time. That kind of happens, right? And also when I watched Coolie personally, like I didn't go in with too much expectations, and I wasn't a fan of it. But like I didn't read into any of those time travel theories or anything. I knew that was way off the books.
I have two things to say on the fan toxicity, like whole issue, right? So there's one that we're talking about right now, which is like the bias, and if you're an Ajith fan, hating on Vijay; if you're a Vijay fan, hating on Ajith, just being a Rajni hater, Vijay hater, whatnot, and like how spreading all that like toxic, negative, distasteful things online is a huge problem. But also from like another point of view where like, a lot of people on this call have said we want better movies to come out of Tamil cinema, we want better movies to come out of Tamil cinema. But in the way like people get mocked for like a missed attempt, right? Tomorrow, if like one of us was an actor or a filmmaker and we have this different concept and we're watching how like viciously mocked for, you're not going to be tempted to do that. You're going to say, okay, you know what? If I do this and it goes wrong, then like that's going to be me. I'm going to be the next guy who is mocked. I'm going to be the next. So to a certain degree, like I'm not saying we can't hold actors and directors accountable. They do need to be held accountable to still producing good product. But I do feel like they're limited in their own thing too, because like they have a little bit of hesitance to start off with. But then also the director can only direct a movie that the producer will be willing to pay for, right? And like that, I think has become a big issue because fans have been toxic. Producers are deciding this is what's going to work and this is what's not going to work. And then after that, like, we talk about Coolie and we talk about Lokesh, right? We don't know how much freedom Lokesh had. And like a lot of times people say, oh, he made Kaidi and then after that he didn't have any Sadaka, right? And it just declined from there. No, but he's also been working with bigger and bigger production companies since then. And that correlation is like often like ignored, but I think it plays a bigger part than anything else. Like the bigger the production company, the less he has had freedom to do what he wanted to do, right? And so I think like the toxic, negative reviews and like the way people get mocked these days, first of all, puts like the director and the actor in hesitance, but also kind of the guy who controls what comes out in the end is a producer, right? And they're going to look at it from a financial point of view. And so whatever's going to work in the box office, that's what they're going to stick to. And they much rather play it safe than go for an experimental product. And the only way that gets fixed, in my opinion, is if like all these days, like for all the decades that Tamil industry existed, they're very reliant on theater numbers. But today you have this new dynamic of like OTT. So if you are putting in money And like, because your director has a certain brand value or like something of nature, some OTT companies such as Netflix or Amazon are willing to jump on board, then a May Elegant gets made. Because before that movie hit the floors, it was sold to Amazon Prime already. So they went in with a guarantee that, okay, like, whatever happens in theaters, but we still got this purchase, right?
Yeah.
And then same thing with Bison. Netflix was on board the moment Marty Selvaraj was the director. Netflix was on board. They went and bought those rights, paid out everybody, outbid everybody for that product, right? So there's a little bit of like insurance money coming in from these OTT companies that might alleviate some of these decisions that the production companies are making. Because at Surare Potre and all those movies at J Beam, they didn't go to theaters. They went straight to OTT. And like that was still celebrated in movies. And I think if that culture, if we're able to pitch better to those type of companies and get that like purchasing power there, then like I think that might change. But again, it depends. It comes down to subscribers and so forth. And that's like what Amazon and Netflix are going to do is like totally different.
So I just want to add to the toxic fandom discussion we had. There's no sort of control or sort of like regulations for who could talk about these things. We're at a point where I could grab a phone and we have a round table talking about movies. So where that information is coming from, before there's a regulation to it, there's a sort of a controlled nature to it. You have newspaper guys, you have some actual like guaranteed verified reviewers, and that was it. Now like me and you and my Atikuti could like go jump on a call and we could talk about movies all the long day and make fun of people.
Whatever you want, however you want.
However you want. I could say, die Vijay die and it'll be fine. Because no one's stopping me. But that's not good because we don't know the mental state of a lot of people out there. People are killing themselves over actors. Unfortunately. That's why the AK fandom had to close down because of these type of things. So especially in our world, it's very much prevalent. We worship, not we, but like some people worship these people as gods. And for them, that's how they look at them. So it's such a mental weird gymnastics that we have to play around. And if we don't have any sort of like standards, it's going to keep going like that. And the fandom's just going to get worse and worse and worse. This goes to Vignesh's point as well in terms of box office numbers and OTT platform. All these things is that there's so much access to these films from every which way. And you have voices talking about these things every which way. Fandom, good fandom, bad fandom, toxic fandom. And producers I feel bad for them, to be honest. Like, as a producer myself, who do we listen to? What audience am I trying to focus my energies on? The only way to fix these things as a group, and it's the funny thing is we're in a weird age of social media, where everyone could jump on a platform and talk in these things. And we have such a way where everyone has a voice now. X, Twitter, whatever, Instagram, TikTok, everything has a voice now. So we as fans have to either, I think as a society, we should regulate these things and now put our foot down and be like, hey, if you have this many followers, then you're going to, we have to start doing that because now it's just getting insane. And that's what's affecting our 2025 as a whole, like, fandom. I think across the board, both Hollywood, Kollywood, everywhere. I think it's just a thing that we need to start focusing our energies on, or they should start focusing their energies on, because it is going to affect our what we want. Because toxic fandoms goes both ways, right? You got toxic fandoms that could lead to really bad. It could lead to like death threats and all these things. But the other way could be like, oh, fans want more Marco. They want Marco because Marco made so much money. We're gonna make more Marco. We're going to make more bloody, more violent films with zero story and zero substance because that's what fans want. So the toxic fandom could go that way. And to Vignesh's point, there is a weird correlation, and I didn't notice that, where it's like the higher the budget the production company location was working for, the quality of his work was doing this. We all noticed that. I was just hoping that it was just a fluke in the design of things, but it wasn't. And and I know we're harping on like specifically Coolie. Mm-hmm. But I think I want to add to, like, I'm going to throw in another guy into this realm, Vidal Mucci. I forgot the director's name of Vidal Mucci. Yeah, him. The man gave us some really, really cool movies. And then he does Vidal Mucci. Where was the correlation there? Like, he had to put things in there. Like, it's like watching Vetrimaran's films. Like, when you watch for old Vetrimaran, Polladavan versus Visarane is Vetrimaran. Polladavan was something he had to do for what he had to do to get his, like, get his films out there. So when you watch it without him, I'm like, wait, why is there a random song between him and Trisha randomly placed? It was so weird. Like there was no, the choreography was lazy. There was nothing necessary for that film, and it didn't build the film anywhere. Like it didn't go anywhere, and you could tell like Thirumalani had a version that he wanted to do the film in. He had an idea, a scope he wanted to go. But since he put AK's name, and I bet you AK wants to do something different. He wants to like, yo, I'm gonna go do something else. Vidyabuchi isn't a terrible film, nor
No,
is
it's
it a
not.
good movie. It's a okay film. It's okay to have okay films. It's okay, guys. Can we accept that? Because I think that's the problem. It's like it either has to be mega like perfection, or it's just bad. Or like Veer Dira Sudan. Vikram came back. I was so happy to see my boy Vikram back in the Arul vibe mindset, whatever. But you know, it had its flaws, and I noticed those flaws. As a fan, I'm like, these flaws are there. But you know what? Like the film itself worked. It's a good film. But you ask people, they're like, oh, but yo, bro, it's all they do is fighting. Is it what they did? Because there's only 2 fight scenes in the whole film. So where was the fighting? What did you see? Why do you think is that? It's either you chose to listen to someone else tell you what the film was about, or you just didn't want to watch it, or you just think, or you heard the words, it's an okay film, so like, okay. Okay for me could be a great film for you.
I think, like in general, a lot of people follow others. So if let's say Thug Life is bad, but you personally love it, you feel that probably if you say that you love it, you might fear of not being accepted by your close friends and all. So you follow that bandwagon, and you end up, not expressing yourself up, because I feel like you brought up, it's sometimes it's okay to have movies that are just okay. And Coolie is one of that. Coolie, probably it's not up to the standard that a Rajini film or a Lokesh film is. It's still a film that you can enjoy for what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so when that movie came out, I watched the first show, right? My mom hadn't gone and seen it. My mom has been like a lifelong Rajinikanth fan. She's a diehard, like, crazy Rajinikanth fan, right? But then I finished the movie and I came out, and then, like, she was like, how was it? And I was like, I mean, it was decent. Like, if you like Rajinikanth, for someone like you, this movie is going to be nice because you're going to see some shades of like that older Rajini. There's like some couple of throwbacks. The scene with the girls' hostel where like he's teaching them how to fight and everything with a little comic delivery and everything. So like I was like, it brings the right blends of Rajini out, like his style, like his little comic delivery, like the essence that made him who he is and made him lovable to like the masses. It's still there. The story isn't tight. So like for you, you will still go and watch it and enjoy it. But then like masses might not. And then so she was like, oh no, but then like I heard so many bad reviews. And then for the next couple of days, she hadn't gone and seen it. And every day she called me, she'd be like, no, I learned bad இருக்குன்னு சொல்றாங்க நீ மட்டும் வந்து நல்லா இருக்குன்னு சொல்ற. I was like, Mom, just trust me, go watch it. And then she ended up going and watching it. She's like, it was an okay movie. I liked it. I liked Rajini in it. I enjoyed it. It was worth my money. So like that's what ends up happening, right? Because like even if you say it's an okay movie, you have to either say it's great to convince people to go, or you have to say it's bad and convince people not to go. There's no like, hey, this movie's decent for this, this, and this. If you're looking for this, this, and this, it's not there. So you make your call.
The one thing I would say, like for this year, the film that surprised me was Maurisan with the Buddy Will and Fafa. I remember watching the film, like, yo, this film is phenomenal. How come no one's talking about this movie? But when you look at the reviews, everyone's like, it's okay. I expected a better twist, but the twist wasn't there. I'm like, was the film made for a twist, or did you expect a twist, or was there a twist? Was there supposed to be a twist? See, there's also those type of things where it's like, oh, bro, I was waiting for a twist, but nothing happened. Why were you waiting for a twist? Who told you that was what's going to happen? You have to watch the film for what it is, not for what you want it to be. And I think that's a huge issue.
Exactly, I agree with that. Mamarisan, that was one movie that really surprised me this year because I loved it. If it came out in theaters, I would have watched it for sure. Andalavuku, like, I mean, the trailer looked good, and then the movie itself was great. So no matter, it's not where you have to expect a twist. Like, you're watching a movie, you see these characters in the beginning. You see Fafa's like a crooked con man who rescues a seemingly Alzheimer's patient, Vadivelu character, and then you see that Vadivelu is actually not an Alzheimer's patient, but he's doing some shady stuff. How is that going to affect Fafa's character? That should be what you're thinking about. It's a journey, Maurisan, like that. And the padame is supposed to be built like a journey. So the follow பண்ணும்போது, of course, some twists will happen, and then you see how that changes the character. அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு படத்தை பார்க்கறத வந்து அப்படிதான் பார்க்கணும்.
Yeah,
we have to see a movie just like that. We just have to follow the character in his journey, and I think that's what some people were just forgetting. It's like they were expecting twist and turn to keep it exciting, but no, there's also a joy. There's also a satisfaction and excitement.
It's interesting you guys brought up like Madison, because like I remember when the trailer first came out, I thought it was like an interesting concept, you know, Vladimir being an Alzheimer's patient, and Fahad Fasil's character being a thief that runs into him. And I was like, okay, this might be like another like Nayagan type of movie, you know, like I was interested to go see it. And then I didn't like read into the reviews, but after the movie came out, you know, especially, you know, these double meme pages on Instagram, like they just, you know, give out their opinions about the movies, and they were like, oh yeah, the movie's just it's just okay, it's whatever, right? You know, it's not worth it or something like that. So I was like, okay, maybe I don't want to watch that movie in theaters, right? And then, it wasn't even just that. I think it was even like r/Kollywood or something. There were channels of people saying it was just all right. And then when the movie came out on Netflix and I watched it, I was like, dude, this is phenomenal. And I didn't even expect that like twist with, you know, in the movie. And I was like, dude, this is like a phenomenal movie. What, who is like, where did these reviews even come from, you know? And people just saying it's like okay or whatnot, and you know, and then like like going back to like Nayagan too, right? Like I don't know, like I expected to watch a movie about two guys bonding, and that's exactly what I got out of the movie. But people somehow are like, dude, it's just 3 hours of people talking. Like, what did you expect? Did you expect like Thanos to come out of nowhere and just snap his fingers in the middle of the movie or something like that? What did you expect? I don't know. Like, you know, so I think like setting the expectations right is something else in the Tamil cinema industry right now too. Is what the audience needs to do as well. Yeah, and you know, all these like on Instagram, I see all these like double meme pages now. The reason I followed them, or I used to, you know, I followed them in the past, was because like they would put out like memes that like, you know, they would use like Tamil movie scenes as like meme templates and would make memes out of them. It was cool. But then, you know, ever since I think after the pandemic, like I see like all these meme pages putting out their reviews of movies like, oh yeah, the interval block is like fantastic, or the movie's like all right. And you know, it's like they obviously put out like a lot of fake reviews sometimes, and it just I think it really taints like the audience mentality as well, you know.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say, I think Sean was talking about something like you know, like you see the thing is, I want to share one of the things that my friends told me is that when you go watch a movie, right, we have so many expectations, and like, you know, we go in expecting the movie to be like, you know, absolute cinema, right? But then sometimes, like my friend told me, it's like sometimes you just gotta go into a movie to genuinely sit and look to enjoy it. You know, just watch it, enjoy it, and really, really find some entertainment in it. Like for example, American, right? A lot of people are just like, oh, they're just talking. But if you just go sit and watch the movie, you actually enjoy the good qualities of the movie. And you know, like I mean, people talking, it doesn't have to be like everything. Not every movie has to have like, you know, mass action or something like that. You know, everything is like, you just gotta go enjoy a movie. You know, it doesn't always have to be like freaking Thanos cameo or something.
Yeah. That's an excellent point, because I feel like nowadays people want everyone to do the same kind of movies, kind of like
Yeah.
all the big stars today. If you go back and actually look at their filmography in the past 5 years or 10 years, mostly 5 years, you take a Rajini, you take a Vijay, you take a Ajith, they all are doing the same action movies. Not the same, but in terms of blood, in terms of violence, in terms of their character to be more like larger than life, they're all doing the same. I want to go back in time in the 80s. There was so much of variety and people actually loved it. Rajini was doing, yeah, commercial masala films. Kamal was actually paving the way with uh, performance oriented films, different films, experimenting. Vijay Khan was doing action films, patriotic films, you know? So Mike Mohan was doing romantic films.
Yeah.
Now Nayagan was doing film. So everyone had their own versatility. Like they were doing what they're good at, and they gave a new experience to the audience. It's not the same running to the mill kind of story.
I mean, part of it, I think, is being compared to movies that might just have like 50% similarity and being like, oh, this is like that movie, but it's not as good as that movie, right? Like, for instance, an Shivam was a two-person travel journey where Madhavan's character is completely different, Kamal Haasan's character is completely different, and then like how Madhavan is like learning a different side of Kamal Haasan from what he first starts off the movie with, and how he learns about it. It's like a two-person travel movie, right? And then like when you look at a lot of movies that came ever since, like people were kind of scared to go down that route because the audience is going to be like, oh, this is supposed to be like Unbashed. I'm going to see how it is. So we missed that for a long time, and then like you got May Elegant after like 15 years, right? So I think that's what tends to happen sometimes. I think like if someone makes a really good movie with a certain concept, if like someone has a concept that's even 50% overlapping, I feel like that movie will get compared. And so people directors and actors kind of back off from the project.
But I also think the other thing that also affects us as a whole is the cinema. The differences between how everything was in the 80s versus now. 80s was short attention span, didn't matter because people will sit there for 2 hours watching people talk. Like I could sit there and watch Gayatri because I have a really good attention span. Nowadays, the audience is different. We want moving screenplays. We want twists. We want turns. We want something that keeps me away from my phone. Like we want those things now, and that's a huge issue now. Like it's a big problem. And I think directors are so used to spoon feeding a lot of audience members. Like, இதுதான் நடக்க போகுது அது பாரு இதுதான் நடக்க போகுது okay and then eat, like that's what they're so used to, and you're like, I know, man. Like that's why Mayalig was such a shock factor for like that's why everyone's like, yo, this is like peak cinema. But for us who watch Hollywood films, like this is actually pretty normal. Like it's okay. Like it's a phenomenal film. I'm not taking it away from that. I'm just saying I've seen this before. Like I watched, like Green Book. Like I understand like two people traveling together. It's not a new concept. It's not something new. But for a lot of people, it's like, yo, there's something different. So the spoon feeding nature was gone because like, wait, where's the twist? Because I'm so used to the twist. I'm used to the characters being so shallow. There's no depth to them.
That character thing that you're talking about, also like depth of character, that was ultimately why Thug Life failed, right? Because they put 20 different guys on screen. You don't get attached to anybody, right? Actually, you know what? I think like Thug Life should have been like a Ponniyin Selvan type of setup, where like you're making that movie as two parts from the get-go. And you spread it out. So that'll give you some time to kind of understand, like, but the thing is, like, the reason you didn't like it is because it was just random. Everything that was happening on the screen was random. If you got more time to get attached to Simbu and they spent some time in Simbu's upbringing and what his personality is, because all of a sudden Simbu is like, oh, Kamal is jealous of me. I'm going to kill him. Where does that emotion come from? Like, we don't feel as audience. Like, it goes too quickly. Like, one thing happens, 2 scenes later, Simba's ready to kill this guy, right? That type of emotion has to get built over time. Like, and that's where like Mani Ratnam has that skill set, because you watch an Iruvar, the way like that movie is cultivated to have those nuances where Prakash Raj is feeling a little bit jealous, and where Mohanlal, I was about to say MGI, where Mohanlal is going a little bit more and more like. At first, he doesn't want to get into politics. He's like shy and whatnot. But once he sees his matter and like how his like confidence and his like somewhat arrogance grows, like that whole movie is just that, right? Whereas like I think in this movie, that the jealousy factor and going from being like almost father son to this guy trying to kill him, that should have been elongated. And like the Jojo George being in there and everything, like them, like what role is he apart from like going in and being like, hey, once they get jealous of you, like he's going to try to kill you. That's it. It's over. There's no going back. That role could have been elongated a little bit. Why does that guy have that much? Like, why does Simbu have that much trust in him? Right. So I think it could have been elongated a little bit. It could have been a movie where like it ended with Kamal Haasan being attacked by these five guys, leave it in the cliffhanger. The second movie could have spent more time on like Kamal Haasan actually being someone who went and trained and came back, recovered. Then you would have got more of that, like what we saw in the initial teaser. That could have come in the second movie. You know what I mean? Because now he's coming back for vengeance. Now he's coming back. And you're going to focus a little bit more on that and how he takes out each of these guys. So if that was two parts, it would have been better. But one of the reasons why that movie didn't work out is, to your point, there was no depth of character. Like we didn't really get a feel for anybody. And the movie just kind of rushes through. Like it's very superficial.
Yeah.
Like you're watching it, you're never engaged at any point. Like you're just watching something happen on screen and it just passes by before you even know it. I mean, you know it because like at times it's like 2 minutes felt like 10 minutes, but you know what I'm saying.
The people now, they just write action for action, not the build up to action. Why are they fighting? See, Thug Life, Simba was fighting Kamal at the end. I only felt that intensity only at the end. The rest of the fight scenes, I was like, yo, what's going on? Like, why? I want to do, yo, this KGF is like this, so we got to do the same slow-mo. We have to do the same thing because that's what the audience wants. No, we want to have justification for our fight scenes. We want to know why they're fighting. There's a mass reason for a reason. For a reason, that's why we're having these fight scenes. Like, why? So Thug Life failed on so much of those levels because it was like I think Vignesh said it earlier on. It was like money was directing, he wasn't comfortable directing it, and I could see it because he was like, it wasn't himself, it wasn't his style, it wasn't his beats, like it wasn't him, it was someone else trying to mimic him. That's what it felt like to me. 2025 as a whole, there was no characters a lot in these films. And that's why like films like Veera Dhirasuran, Bad Girl, Kudubastan, Marisan, like those movies, they stand up because the character was like interesting. Like Vikram's character in Veera Dhirasuran, I'm like, yo, what is his background? Like this being part 2 makes sense because now I want to know what led him up to this point, why he's there, who was his buddy that got killed. Like I'm curious because now like his character was sold to me.
Lubber Pandit came out last year or this year? I think it was last year.
Last year, yeah.
Parking came out after that, right?
Huh?
Parking came this year, right?
No, Parking came 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah. So Lubber
Pandit came after Parking, but Parking got their national awards this year because I think there's a 2 years delay due to the COVID. So yeah,
I think Lubber Pandit was last year. I think late last year. That's why.
Yeah, it was late last year.
Lubber Pandit was later. Yeah.
But even that, like in that, where the father character like getting pissed off at like the younger character, like there was a build up to it. There's reasonings where like you're like, okay, yeah, obviously he's like this, and this guy's, he's got his ego. This guy's got his ego, and it meshes, right? Bison was one of the reasons I like Bison a lot, right? Was that father character, Pasupati. I mean, this guy deserves all the awards for supporting actor that can be possible. Like the way he performed this movie, it carries the movie. A lot of people again, reviews, right? People spoke about Drew Vikram, people spoke about Anupama, they spoke about Rajisha. Nobody spoke about Pasupati before I saw this movie. And when I saw the movie, I'm like, dude, this guy killed the movie and was in a different league than anybody else in the movie. And even in that movie where like they go into the details of like him being this complex character, right? Like he is ready to be violent and physical, but he also recognizes why he shouldn't be. And he's willing to go back and forth across that line when it's necessary and when it's not. And it was such a complex character. And to see Drew's character is more of like trying to understand why is this happening. And Pasupati's character is like, it is just the way it is. Mm-hmm. You don't ask questions. This is how it is. And instead of just keeping it that simple, like they weave it into screenplay. They put in scenes where like you can feel Drew's like angst and like, what else was I supposed to do? You hit my dad. How else was I supposed to react? And then Pasupati's flip being like, you reacted, but now like you're gonna have consequences. You don't understand. Like I know, trust me, trust me. So it was nice, like to see that little like character development and so forth. And you understand in this movie, you understand why Drew is feeling how Drew is feeling, and it feels justified. And you also feel why Pasupati is feeling what he's feeling, and it's justified. And it was a very complex dynamic where, like, it wasn't one way or the other. You understood everyone's little position, and it was completely justified for them to feel the way they felt. So that was one of the brilliant parts of that's character depth again.
But also that goes to Mari Selvaraj's directing style because he lets people be like let the actor have his inner dialogue when he's not even performing. Like when Paswali is just sitting there, you could feel what he's thinking without even saying a word.
Yes.
And I think that's the genius because that's what a lot of filmmakers fail a lot, especially in the modern age. Is like we're gonna show it to you like what they're feeling, but let them show you with their body because that's why they're actors. They could convey those things without even saying a word. And that's what makes Pasupati such a strong actor because even Sarpatta, like so in moments like he's just sitting there looking. He's not even saying words. He's just looking. You're like, I know what you're thinking. Like Paranjit's Kala. Rajinikanth, his like performance was phenomenal in Kala because half the time he's just sitting looking at people and you know what he's thinking. He's like, yo, like I'm gonna kick his ass later. I know what to deal with that. I think Kudubastan also works like that because Kudubastan, there are moments where they're preaching what they're saying, but most of the time it's like watching the characters just sitting there like talking to each other. And you felt like you worked with them because the way they speak to each other and act with each other, it's like you felt like, oh, this is my mom. My aunt would say something stupid like that. Oh, my uncle would be, I have an uncle like that who's an idiot. Like I understand this because just the way the characters are written and the subtlety of said characters are just like, you know, just them standing, the blocking wise, just standing in the room and the way they look at each other, it's a huge thing. It's like, oh, like it's conveying so much. And I think that's what works with Bison and like those films particularly. Yeah. Just adding to your point. Yeah.
I think Dragon, it's a perfect blend of modern commercial masala film template and what we actually talked about, a character depth and meaning. Because I feel like the film worked a lot because it had everything was interconnected. From let's say Pradeep Ranganathan's character, D. Raghavan, so downfall and to his redemption at the end, everything was there's everything had a meaning to.
I think they're gonna rise exponentially because like a lot of fans tend to like these type of films where the morality of the characters is being questioned. I think Dragon, Dude, I think they're all those a lot of PR films that Pradeep Ranganathan films are like that. But with Dragon, what was different was he wasn't like he wasn't so smart that he could escape a system. He was like he is like a fallible hero, right? So even like when Miskin catches him and talks to him about it, it's like the director did it a way where you don't think Miskin was wrong. You think Miskin was right, and you think Dragon was wrong, but you also think that he could be redeemed in his actions.
Yeah.
So I think those type of things are such interesting because not a lot of filmmakers are able to balance that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sometimes like, oh, the hero, as bad as he is or misogynist as he is or whatever it may be, he is always like the hero. So he's got to be the cool guy, you know? That's one of the things why I didn't like about Dude because at the end of the day, Dude, like he was fighting, he was doing all the cool stuff because he was the hero, but he was a flawed character. But I think Dragon never let that happen where it's like, yeah, he's like in his head, he's such a bravado, cool guy, but every mistake he made, it came back to haunt him afterwards. He's like, you are a liar. You did try to cheat the system. You took places where other kids could have been, and you tried to do this, but you did it the wrong way, and it's gonna kick you in the ass. And I like it. What I liked about that movie particularly, and it's funny to say it's the ending, but the ending was he never got the redeeming arc where he goes back and he's like the top dog. He's a regular like what's it yeah, exactly. He's just a regular dude who delivers food at this point now. It's like, yeah, he's a smart guy, whatever, but you know what? He has to work his way up again. But you know what? He took his L's. And I think that's interesting because I think a lot of us as Tamil cinema film fans, we tend to want the hero to rise, and never fall. But I think Dragon was like, no, like he is going to fall, but it's okay. You could fall. It's okay. You don't have to be always winning. I think Annamal is also proof of that too, right? Like Annamal is the same thing. It's like, you know, he got to where he was, but when he got to where he wasn't sure what to do with it anymore. So he was like, what do I do with this? And he went back to like, I'm going to be a Palkat because you know what? Like, it's okay. I could be this guy. And I think success could be, and I think those type of ideas I think it's very more or less the more important thing to say more in our diaspora, if anything.
The thing about Dragon that I like is that, if something happened and then he reformed and like that was the story, like that's one way to go about it. But the way it happens in Dragon is he does switch gears. He does all the positive things. He gets his life in order. Everything is going well. And then he meets Miskin again. So it's not just about like him reforming in the end because like Michigan caught him or something happened. He's already reforming, but then like the older things that he did catch up to him. So it's kind of like a messaging of like, it doesn't matter even if you are better today than you were yesterday. Whatever you did yesterday is still going to catch up with you. And so that's what I like the most about the movie, because he ends up like finding a girl. He ends up like, quitting cigarettes, all that stuff. Like he becomes a proper person, like working in a proper office. He's doing well. Like he's succeeding in his career. He's succeeding in his personal life and everything. And then this whole thing happens. And so it's like, whatever you did in the past, it just doesn't go away. It'll catch up. That's what I like the most.
Yeah.
Honestly, when you say that, like, it's like saying karma is a boomerang.
Yeah.
What do you do? What do you do? You will get it. Actually, I really love Dragon. I feel like it's like a film that represents a lot the mentality of the young kids that are growing up today.
It is a better film in terms of Pradeep's films this year, because he did two, like Dude and that. It is a way better film than Dude, in my personal opinion, because Dude does this thing where it's like the story is interesting, but Pradeep is a doofus. He's a weirdo, and the whole concept makes no sense because like I saw this guy point out something that I'm like, yeah, that's the movie. It's like if he doesn't have a passport, send her. Let the guy, because Sant Kumar doesn't know who she is. He is. So send her and then send this guy after. Like, you don't need to marry her. You know what I'm saying? It was so weird. And the whole like honor killing thing, they just kind of like drove over it and then you talk about it. That was annoying to me because I'm like, if you're gonna introduce this point, this is a key point that should have been the main idea. That his manam is better than anything else.
It's just a lot like that actually, because like the first like comical scene where like he goes to a wedding and accidentally rips a tali and everything. At the end, he'll be like, "Sorry, I overreacted." That line is there, but then they brush over it afterwards again. Then he goes back, he asks again and again. The cool thing that he does is like till the end, she doesn't say why she dumped him. So like he left it as that is. But then there's a couple of different things like that, like the whole like, your body, your decision, all that stuff. He sprinkles all that in, but like he does it in a fashion where it's like a one-liner, but you go back to like the grand scheme of the movie. So it's like influenced. And to your point, like the main character is a doofus because like it's really bad because you're talking about a marriage, right? Like when he decides to fall back in love with her, he doesn't tell her. Instead, what does he do? He goes to Sir Kumar and he says, "Get the wedding ready. I'll talk to her." So none of this happens. None of the wedding, none of that happens. None of the complications happen if he just goes and talks to her. But he doesn't do that. He goes straight to Sir Kumar and he says, "I'm going to eventually talk to her. Get the wedding ready." He just makes an assumption, right? So all the complications that follow are this guy's mistake. First of all, he turns her away. That's also a mistake. Then randomly he'll realize that he's in love with her and so forth. Which is also another reason why, like, this movie is supposed to be a sacrificial movie and you're supposed to feel that emotion or what. You don't feel it because at the beginning of the movie, like, and it's part like what her role is written in as, but also how well she played that one scene where she's walking in and she turns around and she's like, "No, it's a prank in the air." And then, like, he will say no. And then, like, she lets out like an exhale of like, oh my God, like, you could feel like that last bit of hope that she kind of held leave her body. So like you kind of empathize with her, and then like the rest of the movie is supposed to like feel bad for this guy when he keeps on making the mistakes. So it did work in that regard for me.
The end dialogue that Pradeep says, "Thaliki mariyadilla, thaliki pinalka and the punnunde feelings mariyada," something like that. But do you think? And Sean said, differentiated both films. He said Dragon worked as a film with a strong social message in contrast to Dude. What do you see? Why Dude in general didn't work that much in terms of the messaging part?
Like you said, Dude, it feels more like a அந்த தாலிக்கு பின்னால இருக்கிற எமோஷன் தான் முக்கியம் அப்படின்னு சொல்றது வந்து it felt more like it felt kind of like lip service. You know how sometimes you have to put a dialogue in there, a shot in there, to get the audience attention, send a message and சொல்ற மாதிரி சொல்லிட்டு, but it's not like the movie fully justifies it. Dragonly, they do that.
Yeah.
In fact, it's funny, the dragon, they don't actually verbalize it, but the movie is basically a huge example of what Padayappa said 25 years ago. கஷ்டப்படாம எதுவும் கிடைக்காது, கஷ்டப்படாம கிடைக்கிறது என்னைக்குமே நிலைக்காது. And then dragon literally goes through the entire motion. கஷ்டப்படாம he got the job and the woman and everything, but கஷ்டப்படாம கிடைச்சது வந்து eventually just left him. So he has to start back at the beginning of the movie. So
you
summarize. Not saying that like he just the movie proved it. Meticulous.
That line was perfect.
Exactly. You summarized the whole film with that one line.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes. I think that's the thing with the whole Thali thing, right? Because like Vijay said before, there's no justification for the line. It's like a throwaway line. And it's proven yet again and again because throughout the film, there's a lot of throwaway lines where it's like, like, yata banana, like those type of random, like, jots. I'm like, so what is it that you respect? Because if you don't respect the basic idea of home, you don't respect this, like the base. I'm not, because I don't really care. Like, I'm not like the Tamil culture, I'm like type of person. But like, if a person's watching who cares about these things, like, so what do you respect? If you don't respect Thali, you don't respect these things, you don't respect that, you don't respect that, like this. And also the director was like, oh, like Thali, marriage, pregnancy, like like the audience, like, yo, bro, you're throwing too much at me, man. I can't handle it. Like it was way too much in one film, in my personal opinion, like for a general audience.
Back to your first point that you made at the very beginning of this roundtable, where you said the movies are now more focused on like 1 minute reels or like the TikTok culture. This feeds right into it because like that one line is a TikTok line. You'll go viral on TikTok. But then there's no story or substance behind it. So when you're watching a movie, he's not caring about those lines because those lines, like, it'll take off somewhere else. He's putting those. It's almost like punchlines. Something that's like very important in society, right? Like you're supposed to actually make a movie to kind of elaborate on it, whereas like you're not really elaborating on anything or not really providing any sort of education. All you're doing is giving a punchline and walking away from it right after you say it.
Like in Padiyappa, there's a line, right? Adhigama asapata amilam, adhigama kovapattu kumbalim, nalavana sandhithamilla. And the line could have been a throwaway line. It could be a punch out done. But the film is about that.
Exactly.
Her brother wanted a lot. Ravi Krishnan hates everything so much. She just like they're just corrupted people. And look what happened to their family, right? And he shows it like, but him on his side of his family, where his life is like. He didn't want more. He was happy with Soundarya. I mean, who wouldn't be? But he was happy with Soundarya. He was happy with like his friends, his family. He was okay. He stumbled upon the granite. He stumbled upon all these things, but he never wanted. But while the people to chase it, so the line makes sense. So if you're gonna throw a line in the film, see that's the problem with writers and directors. My biggest thing with Tamil cinema in general is directors. Sometimes writers should not be the director. And sometimes directors shouldn't be the writer. You should have two people doing different things. Some guys could do it. They balance the line. See, this guy who wrote Dude, he probably wrote like a really good dialogue, really good idea, but he directed for like, his execution was crap. Because he just didn't know what to focus on. He was like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. No insult to him. He did a film, that's proud enough to say, but he did so much different things where like, that's what KS did with Padiyappa, where he had a 3-hour storyline, 3-hour runtime, but he was able to convey that one line of dialogue.
The ending Kali dialogue is because Kumar, because he says that this, like, she loves this guy. I'm not going to, like, but Sartkumar asks him, Apatali kanna value, because he had tied, saying they are married together. So what's the value of that you're walking away? Like, what does it mean? So at that time, he says it. He says, like, it's not about the Tali, like, that's bygones. It's about the girl emotions and who she loves is this guy. So that's when he says it. But still, like, in that moment, it contextually made sense.
That's my point. I think a lot of people do that where it's like, the scene passed it and they'll like judge a film from that scene. I think that's also, we talked about this earlier on in the roundtable where it's like, people talking about movies. It's like order section part of it. I don't want to watch it. It's like it's so terrible or whatever. But what's the context to it? No one looks into it, right? And it's such a weird thing. And I think that's what happened with Dude 2. because a lot of people came out and said the movie's bad, whatever. And I'm like, okay, let me watch it. Is it good? No, but it's not bad. It's a okay movie. It's okay, and it's fine to say. But I think under like oldest like that one scene, this one scene, like they watch these little scenes, and like back to Vijay's point, like that one Thali scene came out. He probably watched that one scene. He's like, that's not okay. We shouldn't do it. I'm like, watch the whole movie, man. Like it could maybe he did. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just saying it's just weird.
You probably saw a TikTok video of just that line and was like, which I have a theory on why the movie is called Dude. Because like if you watch a movie, one recurring theme is that he looks at her and then like she's crying and then like he decides like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, right? So there's a movie, Nanam Rowdy Down, right?
Mm.
And in that, Vijay Sethupathi is trying to impress Nayanthara. And so he's like trying to pick a fight with like a proper thug, like big rowdy fellow. And like RJ Apology is trying to stop him. And Vijay Sethupathi says, I'm the potter dude. And then like Raji Apology will look at her and he'll be like, what's a dude? So like, so that's where the dude comes from. That's my whole thing.
I thought it was a company. Wasn't it a company called Dude?
It was a company.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, I thought that's what.
I'm
That's actually a good theory, though. I like that theory, though. I like that theory. That makes more sense.
Because that's what the movie's premise is. So I think he got his
Yeah.
one-liner from there, and then he built the script from there. That's my theory, and I stick with it.
I thought Dragon was good. I'll be honest, I do like those type of movies that like where the character he has some moral flaws, and then at the end he does the right thing, he does the moral thing, and he might not be in the best situation, but he's in the best place morally now, right? He's didn't fight, I like the message and Dude that that Pariappa dialogue basically, right? It was instilled in Dude, in Dude though, like it just it's I just couldn't get invested in their relationship or anything, and it was just kind of like it was entertaining. That's all I can really say. To be honest with you, I heard like okay-ish or bad reviews about the movie, so I decided to watch it in theaters, and then I think when it came out on OTT on Netflix, me and my brother, we just had a slice of pecan pie, and we wanted to watch something, and like Dude was like kind of just staring at us, so we just decided to watch Dude. That's how I watched Dude. But like, yeah, it was just entertaining, but I couldn't really take anything out of it, and it's just a little bit questionable. It was a ride. That's all I can really say.
Yeah, so about Pradeep Ranganathan, I think with all of the movies he's made so far, including Love Today as well, probably the things that I liked about all of the movies are, I kind of like the fast paced concepts of the story, and obviously I think the reason why I go and watch a Pradeep Ranganathan movie in the theaters is because I expect some comedy. And I think and I like that about his movies is the comedy, even though some of the comedies can be controversial. And of course, his movies are like, I think they're made to appeal for Gen Z. It can be a good thing, like a good appeal, or it can also be bad appeal. And I think it's very controversial. His movies are just very controversial. I think the things that don't work, in my opinion, are maybe the female roles. I feel like they exist to trigger male growth only. Sometimes, for example, Pradeep's character, his behaviors should be questioned, but is oftentimes played for laughs instead. For example, that Bittu Param line in Dude. So I think a lot of the comedy is supposed to appeal to Gen Z, but instead sparks a lot of controversy. And I also want to bring up another controversy about his movies is his selection of non-Tamil actresses that are like super fair. I think that has also really pissed off a lot of people. Where like he looks like a totally different color to them and stuff like that. You know, it's like it's like totally like, you know, generally to describe his movies, like they're funny but very controversial. Like Dragon, in my opinion, had good meaning, funny, but still had some controversy. Same thing with Dude, funny but controversial. So, I mean, I think he's good with comedy, but other than that, I think he can still improve a little bit more.
It just kind of became viral for like no apparent good reason. At least for me, like I just kept seeing TikTok reel after Instagram reel about Dude, and I mean, it had its moments, but it was like the most talked about movie for a certain period of time. And I was um, like, I just didn't really get the hype, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Dude was just like, I think maybe it's just a super Gen Z movie, and I think it's just
Yeah.
kind of like what you guys said. It's like something you can watch on Instagram, like a reel or
Yeah.
TikTok or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
they tried to make it appealing, like a TikTok
Yeah,
reel, you know, to work in the algorithm, like to follow. Because Dude was
yeah,
popular because people were starting to put it as Instagram reels and worked, and people went to watch the film, and it became such
exactly.
a big hit. But it wasn't the case with
Yeah,
Bison, which released at the same time. It did well. It did really well, but was it as popular as Dude was? And
yeah,
quality wise, it's a film that's laudable. It's critically
yeah,
acclaimed.
Bison had the steadier run, right? Though
yeah, that's good.
the Dude started off huge and then it slipped.
Yeah.
And then Bison climbed and stayed steady, which is something you don't see often these days. Most movies are front loaded.
How do you guys feel about, do all films need to have a moral compass to its character, to its stories? Like Dude, like Dragon has a moral compass and it's great, but like not all films need to have that. But I feel like that's such a requirement for Tamil films, particularly. You know, what's the moral? Like, what's the point of the story? Like, what are they saying to the nation?
What's the message in one of the greatest Tamil comedies of all time, Panchatandiram? அந்த படத்தை பெருசா there's no கருத்து message like that, but isn't that one of the greatest?
just a full-on comedy.
It's just full-on
exactly.
comedy.
Yeah.
It still stands the test of time, and you put it on today randomly, and you're still gonna have a laugh ride, even more, as much as or even more than you did when you were younger, because more jokes land on you now. The more we grow up and mature, the more we understand and we pick up. Panchatanam has all kinds of humor beautifully packed in, and it doesn't need a karthi. We see the Kamal's character does have an arc, and he gets a moral compass, and so do the other friends as well, a bit. But that's not the point of the story.
There has been a little bit of a trending towards like being stuck halfway between making a pure entertainer and making a message driven movie. And like the audiences, because like they enjoy both, they enjoy like that message driven movie, but then they also enjoy like a pure entertainer. Like sometimes like it gets mixed in, right? And like people use that parameter to judge a movie. But I mean, like, I think the pure entertainers still need to exist. I don't think it's fair to like say, okay, every movie has got to have a message or whatnot. And to one of the other points that you brought up, Sean, was that these movies do well in theaters. So like, it's also like, what are we like missing with the audience? Well, one huge factor is like, if you are a middle-aged man with a family of four in India, you're paying rent for your house, you're paying EMI on your car, you're like, school fees, this, that, and everything. So you're just like stressed out all the time. And like, if you're going to drop another, like, how, I don't know, I think it's 150 rupees now.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say it's a family of four, like you're going to drop like 600 to 1,000 rupees on a movie. You don't want to go sit there and then watch how difficult life is because you're living that life, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want to go, you want to go in and you want to use that 2.5 hours to escape the reality that you live day to day. So I think as pure entertainers do need to exist. And I think that's why the mass elements and the mass entertainers do well, like a Vijay movie does well, because it's like a movie that you can take your whole family with, and like, yes, he's incorporated a lot of social messages, but it also has the fun elements. There'll always be comedy, there'll always be songs, there'll always be action. There's something there for everyone, and it's 2.5 to 3 hours where you can kind of like just tune out and just watch a movie, have fun, and then go back and deal with life, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's very different to be sitting like, I'm sitting here in Florida, like grew up in California. My type of audience, who I am, is not the same as the majority of audience that like actually runs these movies, right?
Exactly.
It's a totally different like socioeconomic like circumstance I'm talking about. So when making movies, they got to make it that way too. So I do
Exactly.
believe the programs do need to exist.
The one thing I'll say that I have a biggest criticism with Indian cinema as a whole is their rating system. Because Panchatantam is pure entertainment. It's pure entertainment. But the stuff they're talking about, I wouldn't want my 6-year-old child to watch. You know what I'm saying? It's not terrible because thankfully
Yeah.
they're not as racy. But there are certain things that it will get into your kid's mind. Like I remember as a kid, I watched this movie. It's with Ajith and Simran and Bablu Prithviraj. I don't remember the title of the film.
Amal
And
Varwala.
I think, Avul Varwala, I believe. And then there's a scene at the end where Bablu like basically strips Simran
Yes.
completely naked and she's in fire. And I was a kid when I saw that scene. So I was like, what is he trying to do to her? But I'm a kid. Like, why should I shouldn't be thinking that way. So if there's a responsibility for directors and filmmakers is if you're making a family entertainer, then think of the family audience. There's kids involved. So don't like if you're gonna do extreme violence, that makes no sense to me. Like if you're gonna do Edikum Turinchivan, where it's about sexual assault and these type of ideas, and you want to make it a family entertainer, then why is Surya cutting up people in pieces? Why are we talking about these like very hardcore subject matters for 6-year-olds? They should know these things, and I think it's up to the parents like to tell them and talk to them about these things, not to the director to tell them. You know what I'm saying? So this responsibility, I think that's what's wrong with Dude, because Dude is a family entertainer, but in contextually, I don't know if I want my kid to talk about surrogacy, abortion. Like I don't know if my kid should be having those things. I want my kid to like be outside and playing games. You know what I'm saying? So it's up to the family to either it's up to the board, the censor board to either start a rating system. Because I remember I went to watch Mercil a couple years ago, and Mercil, we know how violent it could get. It's crazy violent. People arms are gone. It's crazy violent, and I hear this baby crying in the background. I'm like, why is this child in here? Like, this is a straight up PG-13 film in America, in Canada. Like here, it's PG-13, or in Quebec, it's a G movie, but it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's a weird space to be like. I think I that's the one thing I've always been annoyed about the Indian cinema as a whole. Like even 2025 wise, like Veera Didasudan, it's crazy hardcore, but there's a lot of like things where I'm like, I don't know why you guys call it a family entertainer. It's not a the kids should not be there. Like it should be a PG-13 film, if anything, like that's the thing they should be starting for.
I also remember last year when I watched Maharaja in theaters, and like I was in the back row, and in the row right in front of me, the seat right in front of me, there's like this little 4 or 5 year old girl just standing up, and I was like, what the heck? Like she's like ruining my viewing experience, whatever. And she sat back down. After watching the movie, I realized there was a 4-year-old kid sitting there in that movie. I wonder how they process. Like I don't even know how you would. I don't even want to imagine how you would process that movie when you're that young, And I don't know how the parents dealt with explaining to their kid what exactly happened in that movie.
Yeah, what happened to the kid? Yeah, exactly.
And I also remember when I was younger too, like it was like a R-rated like Hollywood movie, like or PG-13. Even some PG-13 movies, like. My parents like wouldn't allow me to really watch it, right? Unless it's like something like Spider-Man or something. But other than that, no. But like something like Vettayadu Velayadu was like A-okay, and I got traumatized from that movie. So as a kid. So I think like that is another thing that needs to it not only with the certification board, but also just like parents in general need to understand, I think, that not every movie is meant for your children. And like another point too is like with Leo, for example, he says the infamous word right in the trailer, and people just went off and were like, "Oh, how could I ever take my kid?" And I was like, but I don't think. I think you need to realize this movie isn't made for your kids.
What I want to add in is that not every Vijay movie, not every Rajini movie is actually meant for all type of audience, because there's a so-called myth or theories that people create, especially producers and distributors, where they actually say if a Rajini movie comes out, it's a Tiruvalla. Yes, for sure, everyone goes watch, like families will go watch those films. But a jailer, you see a head being chopped, and that's a UA certified film. It was that violent, and that film should have been an A-rated film because it was bloody. Whereas at Tiruchitambala, it wasn't violent at all. It was a very feel-good film. I don't know why they rated UA certified.
Some family friends of mine, they went to watch Coolie in India, and they're all huge Rajini fans. But they didn't let them in because the oldest kid they had, she was only like 16, and they wouldn't let her watch it. I was strict about it, but like, she could easily watch the Coolie here, and they would allow it. That's the thing. If you're gonna make a movie like violent or whatever, and or has some sexuality or some such as immaturity, if you're gonna talk about abortion or whatever, parents, if you're gonna bring them to the movie, be ready to talk about those subjects afterwards. Clarify them in a basic manner. Don't have to go graphic. Just give the basics. Say that this is some things adults do. You don't have to worry about that. We can worry about when you grow up, but this is the basic stuff. Abdin solitude, you can just limit it that way. Because here's the thing. Some things can be like some subjects can be like a pressure cooker. Boom, it'll blast like that.
But actually, you're not supposed to go watch a film that is actually, I know the rating system is bad, especially in Indian films. You're not supposed to watch, let's say, a jailer supposed to be A-rated, and that film is not supposed to be watched by kids. That's as straight as it can be. Like, there's no, you go watch with your kids and you explain it later on. Yeah, I can understand that for films that are actually meant to be PG-13 or U, but not for a film that is actually violent. Like, I don't understand how that kid was allowed to watch Maharaja in the theaters. Like, that film was such a sensitive film, such a hard to watch film, and you let the 4-year-old kid to watch it, doesn't make sense at all.
With Maharaja, do you guys know what it was rated?
I think it was rated UA.
I thought it was not rated A. That I know. Maharaja was not rated A. That was the thing.
It was a UA. It should be a A. Prabhu, you wanted to add something?
When I was a little kid, I feel like, I just brush it off. I'd be like, oh, it's just a bad scene that my parents didn't want to see. But I think the thing is, right, I think the kids nowadays are just way more observant. I think parents nowadays would have to make sure to, like you guys have been saying, explain what these scenes are in a appropriate way. Because, I just feel like the kids nowadays are just so, like, observant. Like, they know more things that we never knew at that age. It's like crazy, I just don't get it,
Prabhu said, nowadays kids have access to everything. They can go watch anything. It's a fingertip and it's accessible. But in terms of theater, like a 13-year-old, I don't think he can actually go to watch a film in theaters. But if he does that, like, there should be the certification rating system exists to actually avoid, explicit content to be seen by kids.
And adults, parents, families should also be ready for that. They want to go watch a movie by themselves, go for it. They don't have to always bring a kid to every movie.
Exactly. Like a Rajini movie or a Vijay movie doesn't need to be seen by a family. Like Leo, for instance, that film is not meant for families. It's a film. It's an action film. It should have been A-rated, first of all. They cut it off.
I think it was, wasn't it?
No, it
was
UA.
Yeah, it was UA. Yeah.
Which
was
because,
right?
Yeah, which is kind of weird because Coolie was, in a sense, they saw it as less violent than Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
But bloody than Leo, and they said it was like that. I mean, you have hyenas literally chomping a guy's neck to death in
Dude,
Leo.
Vijay kills like 20 dudes, and like at the end, 20 guys or something, like 100 guys, like,
guys,
which is awesome, by the way. It's a cool kick-ass scene, but
I also think that, like, Tamil parents or even Indian parents in general, I feel like bad scenes in American movies are bad, but then since it's like a Tamil movie or Indian movie, yeah, it's totally fine to just let your
Yeah,
kids watch it.
exactly. Yeah.
Overexposing sexuality to a young child is too much for their brains to handle. Even as a simple
This will be limited to that.
dance, it's an item dance. It's called an item dance
Yeah.
for a reason, right? So like when we were kids, my dad didn't give a crap. Like I was watching Bad Boys 3 when I was 11, like that too when I was 11. Like my dad never cared. So at home, we were like overly exposed. So I had good thing I had older siblings who kind of helped me. So it's a different story. My brother was always like making sure we were cool, whatever. But like besides that, like I think if parents don't really think about the exposure of that, like, oh, it's it's a rape scene done. I'm like, no, it's a rape scene. It's a huge thing. In the 80s, it was like every movie had it. I'm like, how did you explain this to people?
The good point that I bring out from Sean's argument is that let a youth certified film to be a youth certified film.
Like that's why at Madhaga Raja, it was so funny to me because I'm like the film was a family entertainer masala film, but the whole story in the film was like very over sexualizing the women, making the girls stupid, like all these stupid things. I know it's a film from 10 years ago that they released now. I get the idea. I understand. I'm just saying it just makes no sense for it to be a family entertainer because what are you trying to convey? See, kids, boys specifically, they're gonna be like, oh, so all women are dumb, like they're stupid. I can say whatever I want, and it's because I don't want to make it to like a sort of a cultural thing, but my own point is like in the Western society, in our world, like we have sex ed, we have things that we could understand as adults. We grew up with an education, even if it's not parents, we have friends who talk about it with you, good or not, it really depends. But like even my cousins, I'm talking about my own cousins or whatever, like they're not really talking about these things. So for them, they're like, whatever films tell them is what their access to things outside their culture or the world is usually cinema.
I have one more layer to add to what he just said. Not only like do you not have exposure to that, like of male female interaction for a lot of these kids is only seen on screen because in India, a lot of these schools are like not co-ed. They're sent to like girls only schools or boys only schools. And so like from a social structure, social standpoint, they're not even used to like talking to girls in real life. So like the whole male female interaction they only see in cinema, right? Because if you have a friend in your class who's a girl, then you humanize them. They're a human being. You know, okay, that person is no different than me. There is a different gender. But if all you can see is like you go to a whole bunch of all of your classmates are a whole bunch of guys, or all of your classmates are a whole bunch of girls, the only interaction that you see is like on screen and so forth. So that kind of becomes what you think that interaction is supposed to be, where it actually happens. And it's also very detrimental to society. Like when you get to college, like when I went to college in India. So when I went back from here to college in India and like to see some of these guys and girls come from like schools where they didn't go to a co-ed school, the amount of struggle that they had figuring out how to interact with the opposite gender, what's okay, what's not, and so forth, which is it's not good. It's not, and the cinema doesn't help with that.
This brings us to a question that I think it's valid to ask right now at this point. Do filmmakers need to be responsible in the way they make their films today in 2025?
No.
Your thoughts?
No, that not at all. It's like video games. You could make GTA 5. It's up to you to make sure your child doesn't play GTA 5. I'm going to make the movie I want to make. The way I make it, how I make it, it's distasteful. That's up to the filmmaker's choice, the producer's choice. As an audience member, my choice is whether I want to pay to watch it. That's their responsibility. It's up to the parents. Like for me, as a filmmaker, as I am, I'm gonna make films where I always like PG-13. I like that line because I could watch it. My older, younger adults could watch it. So it's like it's a good film. Like, we don't have to watch too much blood. I like that style for me, but that's my choice personally. You know what I'm saying? It's like telling Quentin Tarantino, don't make films like you make because I gotta take my kid to watch like Inglourious Bastards. like like it makes no sense. I hate that argument so much because what it does, it's like actors. Vijay shouldn't have said that line, because it's against our. Vijay is saying a line that the director wrote. It's not Vijay saying the line. It's the same kind of concept.
I hate. It's job to say that line.
Exactly.
Exactly. They criticize Vijay for saying those lines or even smoking in films. But actually, he's an actor.
I'm going to bring up something that annoys me a lot is the smoking is injurious to your health. Alcohol is bro, I understand it's bad. I get it. Any adult should understand it's bad. It's not up to the filmmaker to tell the audience member, like, guys, don't drink, okay? They're gonna go drink
Kids
anyway. They're
understand
probably
that.
gonna drink right after the movie. Like, it's normal. Like, I don't understand why that's there. It's so irritating.
Kids know this. It's common knowledge.
Yeah. I understand alcoholism, smoking is a huge prevalent thing in the South, in South Asians. Like I know a lot of family members of mine who were alcoholics, and a lot of people lost their lives due to heart attacks. So I get the idea. It's
I've
true.
seen that even as well. Family and
Yeah.
friends that suffer because of alcoholism. So I know that, but it's not the movie's job to tell that. It's common knowledge. Either kaparam, if they're going to smoke and drink or not, then we can't do anything about it.
The delay, right? They censored all the nudity of the women.
Yeah.
It's an A movie. It's an A movie. If you're gonna put nudity, then go for it. Or directors should be smart. Like that was my problem with like Vetri. You know the censor board is gonna put that weird squiggly line and block all that stuff, and we don't need to see it. It's a very torturous thing. Like it's not over sexualized nude scene. She's getting raped. She's getting hurt. She's running. We don't need to see it. So as a filmmaker, my brain, I would be like, let's shoot in a way where we could show it without showing it. Let her run through a forest.
Like something obstructing, like behind a wall or something, and they just
Exactly.
see the faces.
Exactly.
The faces on the shoulders, that's it.
But they don't think that way. For some weird reason, they don't think that way. And so it's irritating because like that's where I'm like, the filmmaker's job to figure that out.
When I was younger, like my parents, if any time it was a Kamal Haasan movie, right? When I was a kid, like they were cautious about it because like some of the material that might come out is a little bit too mature for like a young kid to understand. So that's how I was raised. Like a lot of the Kamal Haasan movies, I went and back and saw, right? Because like he tends to toe the line a bit with mature topics that aren't for everyone's ears. And so that was like a well-known fact, and people operated accordingly, and that's what is expected.
Gonna like, so yeah, with what Sean was saying, like for example, like in the with like Leo in the trailer, he says the infamous word. Everybody has like an outburst in India about it, and my parents included, where my mom was like trying to say like how Vijay has like a civic responsibility, and whatever he says he has a big influence on kids, whatever. I'm like, Mom, no, it's just a movie. He's just saying the word, like it's supposed to be meant for a mature audience in the first place. Like, there's no civic responsibility here. Like, I don't know, but in that respect, like, I don't think like filmmakers need to be held responsible there. But where I have a question is like something like Sandeep Reddy-Vanga's movies, or something like Bakasuran, I believe, the one director who
the Bagasuran Draupadi, that director, right?
Yeah, that director. I think when you're instilling really negative values in your movies, I think those, like, that needs to be held responsible.
A recent debate was started regarding how films should be made from now on, from 2025, and with films that went successful, big star films that went successful, GOAT and GBU, a criticism was that those films were looking like we pretty much said, a set of reels, right? Is this going to be the new age of cinema going forward in Tamil cinema or Indian cinema in general?
I'm afraid it might be.
Agreed. You don't think so?
I think I'll revert back. Sometimes you'll have phases like this, but then that craving, the thing is that like this is the same audience that has been watching movies for 60 years, right? And Tamil cinema has been able to walk this line between like a Malayalam cinema and a North Indian cinema and so forth, because the audience at the end of the day is a certain type, right? And this might work right now because like a few of these things are trending. I mean, right now we're going through a whole phase where like we're doing all these like re-releases and this whole nostalgia and everything. Like 2 years from now, I don't know if like people are going to want to go and watch like a re-release of some of these movies as much as they're doing right now because it's a trending like concept and so forth. So it'll always revert back. And I think one of the things that will happen as time goes on is the movies like Bison and so forth, they will stick out. And now we started this whole call with that whole
Sai Abankar, this being his year, right? And people were kind of polarized in a stance. Like some people didn't like the way he's making his music. Some people thought that, like, this is a new way to go about the music and so forth. But another thing that happened this year was Harris Jayraj had a concert, and in that concert they performed Karu Karu and a couple other songs, and those like clips from that concert went viral, and they're like, oh man, this type of music we're missing from like Anirudh and Sai and so forth. And they're like, okay, like maybe we need Harris Jayraj to come back. And then recently he dropped a single and it was like celebrated, right? So that memory will come back, right? So there was a 24, like 8 years ago, which people don't remember now. But then all of a sudden it'll play on some TV and it'll become trending. And it'll be like, oh my God, we need to go back to those type of movies. We've gone away from it. So it will revert back. I don't think this is how it's going to go. I think the movies with substance are still doing well. And I think the tendency to revert back after like some many trends go extinct, we'll go back to some of the.
When KGF and Kaidi came out, I said it from then. When those two films came out, 2019 and 2021, if I'm correct, when those two films came out, I said, I'm like, people are going to notice this, that they're making mad bank, like it's going to be crazy. People are going to want to make this as a thing, and we're going to have oversaturated films of this nature. And what happened in the last couple of years? We kept on getting those type of films, high action, high octane action, guys with suits, blood, mask music. We lost the idea. At one point, we lost the whole intro song thing because they all wanted was like the cool Anirudh BGM, and that's what we had for a long time. But now it's like, bro, I'm so tired of that. Like, I'm tired of watching action. And I love action films, and I'm even saying that too. And so a lot of my friends, like, I'm tired of this stuff. Like, I want Vijay to do something else. Like, that's why when GOAT came out, it was successful in the box office, but critically it was like whatever, because like, bro, it's the same, like it's whatever. Like, I'm tired of action. I want substance. I want something like tangible and things like that. And this year proved it harder than most years because we had GBU that came up, but it was a box office winner, but it failed critically. Vidya Muichi was a critically bombed and also mostly critically bombed and was not financially stable. And it was all action based. You had Veera Diasuran was the only film that was an action based film that actually was somewhat successful because Vikram was back to his old kind of avatar. We're like, oh, this is kind of interesting, but it wasn't fully action. It was a story that was mixed in with action. So a lot of people are getting, and then Mother Garaja comes out. That movie like broke box office records in January or February, right? Pongal, right?
January,
that time.
Pongal, yeah.
January, Pongal time. And that movie came out. It came out, and everyone's like, "Yo, I missed these type of movies. Sundam should go back to comedy." That was a conversation we were having. So it is slowly gonna revert back. Like Vignesh is right. Like it's gonna go. It's doing this right now. We're currently seeing it, and also the whole trend of like Tamil English titles for Tamil movies are done. Love Today, Thug Life. You know, what's the one that Vijay's son's doing? Jason Sanjay? Sigma.
No, for me, when Vijay's
all that, why? That's a really good question.
No, for me, when Vijay's film like with Venkat Prabhu was announced, the first film, like the first look was released, I was actually hyped. I saw the title, "The Greatest of All Time." I was like, it doesn't sound like a solid title. It didn't fit well, and especially with Thug Life, the same thing. Like Thug Life, I expected something like Nayagan, right? You're kidding me with such a title that's like, are you trying to be relevant to the social media age, or what is the plan behind it?
They want to be cool, but they're trying way too hard. Like, GOAT is one title. And then Thug Life is just like, and it's baffling because it's Mani Ratnam. Mani Ratnam is the type of director that finds all these unique Tamil words for his movies, like Chekka Chuantavanam, Biruvar. The list goes on, right? And you just have Thug Life out of all.
I think that's the problem with filmmakers now. It's like they're like, oh, it's called The Greatest of All Time. So okay, so what about the story is the greatest of all time?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So is it a story or is it Vijay?
Yeah.
I love Vijay. I'm not saying anything else, but is it a story or is it Vijay? Say it's Good, Bad, Ugly. What's the Good, Bad, Ugly? Is it Ajith? Vidyamuchi. Yeah, he's been trying so many times for making a good movie. That's his Vidyamuchi. But is it about him? Because in the film, there's no Vidyamuchi because there's nothing happening for him to have that title. So it's because when I heard Thug Life, all I thought was the glasses meme. they had what's going on with Thug Life and the music starts playing. That's what I was thinking. I'm like,
I agree in the sense that these titles, I mean, for instance, you say 3 BHK, the movie's about them aspiring to get a 3-bedroom, so
House
that makes
kitchen,
sense,
house
right?
kitchen.
And like you go to something like Dude, like I told you my theory behind why I feel
No, we actually tend to forget about retro. Actually, retro is also part of this lineage.
Yeah,
see, I have a theory for retro though. I would
retro. I think was because it took place in the 90s, right? And so they wanted you to have this. I think I remember Karthik Subraj's justification was like he wanted you to have this retro feel, or he wanted to, he wanted to show that the movie is going to take place in the 90s, have a retro feel. So he just decided to call the movie retro. But
he actually wanted to try to replicate what was done in the 90s. But as a film, was it in that case?
The whole going to an island, saving a bunch of people. You've seen that in some really old Rajini or Kamal movies in the 80s. It's possible. So another feels a bit retro in that sense.
You could use that same logic and call Stranger Things as retro as well. Like,
yeah,
exactly.
But like I think some titles work. Like for example, Master, nice and simple, works. But yeah, like I think like especially when you do go Thug Life, Sigma, I just what's next? 6, 7? I don't know.
Hey, that might be a thing. the poster's this.
But
I know,
it's just they're trying too hard with the titles. But to kind of go back to the original question Kumaran had, is Tamil cinema going to be like this forever? I think like we have to like look at like, we have to look at like the market, like these big budget movies like Coolie, I don't know about Thug Life, but Coolie, Good Bad Ugly, for instance.
Thug Life is a big budget film.
No, Thug Life is a big budget film, but what I was going to say is they rely on first day, first show sales. I don't know if Thug Life relies on that star factor for that. I don't know if Retro does either, but with Coolie, Good Bad Ugly, Goat, they relied on the first day, first show sales to make back the budget that they gave, right? And that's not a very sustainable business model, right? Like people... would people want to watch a movie like Goat again? Probably not. People want to watch a movie like Coolie again? Probably not. And so, if they don't reinvent themselves or get out of this ditch, for sure, the industry will fall, right? And theaters in India will fall. It'll be hell. And then I don't know about Netflix deals and all that stuff. So they will be forced to, I think, reinvent themselves and to bring back maybe some of the movies, some of the movies like Mayor Again, for example, into theaters, or I don't know. They'll just be forced to give different flavors of movies other than just action and gore, right? And mass masala.
I'm actually surprised, and I wanted to bring this up. Actually, it's Malaka Raja. This year, it released after 13 years. Yeah.
Oh, I thought
it became such a big success. Why?
Could be nostalgia. A nostalgia to what comedy movies used to be like back in in the 2010s. I haven't seen Mother Gaja Raja, by the way, but
Mother Gaja Raja,
that's it.
It's very much a 2012 kind of movie. Like you can see from the editing is kept exactly the same, untouched. The color palette, like the jokes, music, everything feels very 2012, and that's part of the reason why I loved it, because it feels like a throwback to my teenage times.
It was basically a time capsule for sure.
It was a time capsule. That's what the movie was. It was shot and ready to release in 2013 Pongal, but due to reasons it never did. And the only thing they did was they just color corrected it and made it digital. That's it. That's all they did to the movie.
And you also had older actors like that are passed away now,
Manobala,
like
Manivandan,
Manabala and stuff like that. So a lot of
Babu.
people are like, yeah, exactly. And also, you got to see young today's actors and what people loved about them, like seeing Vishal in a gram setting. You had Sandanam being the comedian, like
Vishal
Item
is physical
Song.
prime with the six pack again. Like
Exactly.
now we see think Vishal, a bit out of form, struggling and all that. But this is Vishal back in his physical prime. This is the Vishal that many of us became fans of. So that was also refreshing to see again.
Exactly. Madhaga Raja worked because it was pure in its form. This was 2012. This is how it was. This is how we made movies. And you know what? Like, let's have a blast and watch it one last time. Because you can't go back and make those type of movies anymore. It's not, the audience is not there anymore. We could try, but replicating that sort of thinking process is super hard. And it's like you're just trying to strike magic again, and it's never going to happen. It's like Marvel trying to relive the phases of the days of phase 1 and 2 and 3. You can't go back. You gotta move up and try to do your best now and tell stories that matter now, but have a sense of what it's old. That's what makes I think that's what made Dragon so cool. I think another thing for Dragon, I guess, is that Dragon had its modern day storytelling, but it had its old school elements, like fun comedy moments, like songs and dance. Had those moments where they don't have those anymore. Like, when was the last time we saw an intro song with a major hero, like Ajith? Or like Ajit was GBU, but that was the only song we had in the whole film that was like a big set, a lot of dancers, stuff. They don't do like back in the 90s and 2000s and like 80s was like the movie will pause for a whole song sequence, but they don't do those anymore. It doesn't exist. It ceases to exist. So it's like we're all. I think that's one of the things why Madagaskar worked on those levels is because we all miss those things. We're thirsting for it. We want them because Tamil cinema, that was its identity. And we lost our identity. We're trying to be Hollywood. We're trying to emulate Hollywood, but we're forgetting our true identity.
In 2025, a big question raised, and I think it's important as fans to speak about that, which is Rajini and Kamal are nearing their retirement possibly soon. Vijay is retiring with Jana and is entering politics. Ajith has his own passion in racing and he's pretty much more inclined towards racing. So this leaves a big question. Is Tamil cinema capable of producing stars? And are they the last big stars created in theaters? Because yes, we haven't spoken about Sivakarthikeyan, but Sivakarthikeyan is currently the big name. So what is the fate of the new superstars? Are we going to get big superstars like we used to have? Are they going to be celebrated as we celebrated Vijay, Rajini, Ajit? So you take. I'm going to start with Prabhu.
I feel like with Rajini, Kamal, and Vijay and Ajit, I feel like a lot of their past movies were so much like mass aura, and it kind of shaped them to who they are. Like, they got so much aura right now because of those type of movies. But I think like now, since Tamil cinema has kind of changed to like a lot of these young actresses like SK, Harish Kalyan, Dhruv Vikram, a lot of their movies are a little bit more story oriented and not much of like, masala, aura, mass, and all that. So I think that might kind of influence like how these actors will be in the future. But I also do think that's a good thing for Tamil cinema because I think that's what we should prioritize, the story-oriented films. But I think right now, like you said, I think SK is kind of like future face of Kollywood, and I think SK will kind of I wouldn't say replace any of these actors because no one can replace them, but he will come close to them. I think he will gain a lot of fans, and I think he's already gained a lot of fans, and I think he's already gained a lot of respect too. But I think SK has a real like potential, and maybe other actors as well.
I think this question, honestly, if we can get like after Vijay and Ajit, who will be the next star? or I think, well, in my personal opinion, I don't think we're the generation of people to answer that. I think that would have to be the next generation, like our kids or something. Because when I think about it, right, like when I think about Vijay, for instance, like we grew up with Vijay, but our parents didn't. Our parents grew up with Rajinikanth and Kamal Haasan, right? And so to them, Vijay was like this new player, and it was ultimately. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it was ultimately our generation that really popularized Vijay to where he is right now. So I think like Sivakarthikeyan might fill those shoes, or at least come close. Not replace, but but ultimately, like I think that's up to the future generation to really decide who's going to be the next star. But it could, I don't know. It's a very difficult question to answer, and I'm obviously not in the next generation, so I don't know. But in the event that there is no stars, then we might get like more cinema like Bison, maybe, or I don't know. Be hard to tell. I think Tamil cinema is capable for sure to tell many different types of stories, many different types of movies, but we are, we have shown that we like to create like a lot of star-oriented movies, but I feel like a lot of those star-oriented movies like stick with like Rajinikanth and Vijay and Ajith, and I don't know who is gonna take that route. I mean, like, yeah, Sivakarthikeyan is there, Pradeep Ranganathan is there, but as big as can they become as big as what Vijay is today or Rajinikanth is today? I'm not sure. I can't really answer that.
Superstar overall look different because like the whole Vijays and Ajits and so forth, they still can do what they're doing and like succeed. Because Ashwin, to your point, like people like me who grew up with them and so forth, like we'll see some of these moss elements and everything, and be like, hey, like we're used to it. But as we trend out of it, it's not going to be like this hero worship that we've seen in the past. I don't think that's what the stardom is going to look like. Are there guys who are big, guys who are going to make 200 crores, 150 crores? Yeah, probably. They'll probably bring in that type of revenue as well. But I think the movies will look a lot different. I don't think you get by the way Vijay and Ajit have, where like they can put up a subpar movie and still bring in revenue because like they're Ajit and Vijay. Like in that sense, I don't think like anybody, like for instance, like you'd consider Brad Pitt as someone who is a actor who will attract people to theaters, right? But if he produces a bad movie, like people aren't going to hail it as a great movie.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think that's what it's going to turn into. I think Sivakarthikeyan is going to have to keep on doing like the Mahavirans, but then also do like a what's a good example? Like Valley Karan. Like he's going to have to balance it out. Deep Ranganathan. He's going to have to add different type of movies. Like we talked about Bison, but Drew cannot go and make another Bison and expect to be, relevant.
Yeah, but Sivakarthikeyan tries because Sivakarthikeyan, if you look back at his last 3 or 5 films, one another, he's trying new genres, he's trying new roles.
Yeah. I think that's what it's going to look. I think they're going to have to do that.
Yeah, because this year he released Madarasi, which we haven't spoken that much, but Madarasi, he plays something in contrast to his usual type of characters, right?
And Doctor, he explored by being someone who didn't talk too much. So that's how it's going to look. Like Dhruv, his next movie, it's going to have to be a little bit of a different character, a little bit lighthearted, lighter tone, maybe a romantic movie or something of that nature. And they're going to have to keep on switching it up. I don't think it's going to be where I'm just going to go every year, produce the same type of movie and be a superstar. I don't think that's what it's going to look like. But
that won't work out.
There will be big stars. There will always be big stars because all these moviegoers have to go watch somebody. But what that person looks like is what will change.
Here's the one thing I noticed about Tamil cinema as overarching like cinema over the years. It's like a lot of actors they start like at a lowly place, right? They start with like let's take for Karthi for example. He started with Parthiviran, then he did Ayithalorvan, then he finally did Paya, right? And that was like his bigger thing, and then it started growing, right? Same thing with like Rajinikanth, right? He started with his small movies, then he did Billa. He started doing those movies, and blah 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 blah. SK same thing. Like it's a formula. I usually notice that whenever a hero made it big is when they do a cop movie for the first time. If you ever notice, like SK's big like SK made SK made it big when he did a Kaki Sata. So he made Kaki Sata, you're like, okay, there everyone's taking him seriously. He could be a cop now. Like Vijay Sethupathi, same thing. That his first cop movie was Sethupathi. And I'm like, all right, like now I know he's legit. Like everyone likes him. That's why he made it. Like same thing with Vishal, Satya, and like so it's all these characters. So it's all about like the way they build up their stardom. Like to Vignesh's point, but I honestly think the definition of what a star is won't be the same because we're going by star power as to like masala films, those big dance numbers, comedy scenes, all that stuff. But what's going to be 10 years from now might not be that. Might be Bison. That's a star film now. Like if you make a film like a Bison, that's like where you're like top tier hero, right? And also like the hero worship thing is kind of over because even like Karthi, Karthi's filmography is fairly ingenious. Like his filmography is pretty solid. Besides a couple of like stinkers, he's mostly been pushing through. Same thing with Vishal. But both guys have been in the industry for more than almost 20 years. But they're not. None of them have made like 100 crore film. Or if I'm correct,
No, they did. They did.
They did?
Yeah, Karthi did Kaidi and
Oh yes.
and
Yeah.
Vishal did Mark Antony.
Mark Anthony, but both of them like they still like when you talk about we talk about Rajni, Kamal, we talked about Vijay, Ajith, we talked about
Surya,
Surya
Vikram,
and Vikram, but we never talked about Karthi. We haven't talked about Vishal as much because they've been around for 20 years, but they still haven't reached the stardom because what stardom looks like for us is not what it is for everyone else in this modern age. Like as to Ashwin's point,
There's
so
also
it's like
the Simbu Dhanush thing going on.
yeah, Simbu Dhanush right now. So and also actors are themselves don't want to do these roles anymore. They're like, I don't want to do like you can see like Simbu is Simbu, but he's doing like Arasan and all these other type of movies where he's not like doing the mass slot. He could do it easily tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And like Dhanush for the last 5 years, the last time he did like a mass commercial film, like a full on commercial film, was probably Patas or Mari too, if I'm correct.
Patas.
Patas was the last film in the last 5 years that he has done where it's a full-on masala film. After that, it was Idli Kada, Ryan, all these other movies. So a lot of those actors themselves, like, I want to do something else now. Like, I'm tired of the masala stuff. So what it'll look like, it'll be you're not sure because the formula is not created yet. Where Dhruv is, Harish Kalyan, because even Harish Kalyan, he could make it big, but who's going to back him? So Harish Kalyan, those younger guys are the next generation. They're the ones that are going to be like the Vijay Ajith for the next group, for like a little further down. So it's like we want to know what that looks like because the math, the chemistry is not work. Like the formula is not there anymore. It's not like how it was when we were growing up, where you do a couple small movies and then you do the big movies, and then now you're a star and everyone's going to come follow you. It's not the same way as it was.
I remember like someone in the press, I don't know if it's Balachandra who said that in 20 years ago. He said Vijay is the last superstar.
Oh, 100%.
And thankfully, like Sivakarthikeyan has emerged in this through theaters, but right now stars aren't created necessarily by theaters because Pradeep Ranganathan, if we take him, yes, he did films that were successful in theatrical revenues, but he's more popular through social media and like the online
interviews. Yeah, but the thing is, the difference right now is that like Vijay, it's like saying Tom Cruise is the last movie star. Tom Cruise is the last. You with Brad Pitt, you could say Brad Pitt, but it's not gonna be a big group that goes to watch his movies. Even me, like sometimes I'll wait for like I'll watch it on Blu-ray when I buy it or something because I'll wait. But Tom Cruise, I'll be there because I love Tom Cruise. Vijay is the last actor where I could say anyone will go watch a Vijay movie. My grandma will like, I'm gonna go watch a Vijay movie because he's still a name. But if I say Pradeep Ranganathan, my grandma will be like, who? because his name is not there. It's not because of time either. It's because there's no such thing as that star power where it carries forward. That's why we're saying AK and all these names, because those are the names that are still pushing. Like Rajinikanth. I'll go watch Rajinikanth if it's just him looking at a rock for 2 hours because I love Rajinikanth. Right? So it's those type of concepts. Like I won't do that for Pradeep Ragan. I won't do that for Harsh Kalyan. I won't do that for Dhruv. I won't do that for Vishal, Karthi, even Vijay Sethupathi. I wouldn't do that. But Vijay, I still can. So yeah, I think that statement is very valid because no, man, no. Like if you look at the 100 crore camp right now, it's like these guys are the names. They're still up there. Not even the young guys are up there. Like even Vishal's not even up there right now. He's still low. Like he's B list right now, still in a way. So it's like it's a weird place.
Yeah,
It's
well,
honestly, it's crazy that like Kamal and Rajni have been doing this as long as they have because Shivaji and MGR in their time they retired at this point. Like now at this point, Shivaji was doing his dad roles, but Rajinikanth and like Kamal are still kicking because even Satyaraj and Sarath Kumar like backed out and they're doing dad roles. So it's still crazy to see those guys still being heroes. And
I was gonna say, I feel like you guys have been saying, I feel like this younger generation is so like what do you call it, judgmental. So like for example, we grew up watching Vijay, we grew up watching Rajini. If they made one or two bad films, we'd be like, okay, maybe the next film will be good, or the next few films will be good. We were okay with a bad film or a few bad films, but I feel like the younger generation, they're very like what do you call it, harsh. Like one bad film, and they'll start bashing the actor, the director, and everything. And they'll just like dislike the actor and be like, oh, this actor's not that good, or this director's not that good. I feel like that's what Lokesh is also going through. One or two bad movies, and everyone thinks he's like a bad director. So I think that's also the problem with the new generation.
But also nowadays, like since we all are making films with our phones and we have access to like DSLRs and whatever, like being an actor is not. It sounds really bad. I mean, and we have an actor amongst us, but what I'm trying to say is like it's not like something you can't grasp anymore. Kids making short films nowadays are having their star power. People are like, yo, sign my autograph, whatever, because like they're having their little audiences. So what is a superstar? It depends on, as Ashwin said earlier, it depends on the next generation, how they're going to look at it. So today, today, like Vijay is the main hero. Tomorrow it could be Vikal Vikrams, It could be him. Who knows? But what could happen? So it's like it really depends. And the generation's changing, man. It's changing. Like that's what I'm saying. Even like so, for instance, like to Prabhu's point, like when we were a kid, we could forgive the lines from Civil Class. You'd be like, Vijay says so stupid. It's okay. We can move on. But now it's like, yo, Pradeep said that stupid thing. Like we said it right now about the Thali thing or the Bittupadam joke. We're talking about it right now. We're like, that's so weird, bro. But because that's dissuading. So it's like, because everyone knows no one's fallible anymore. Everyone's wrong. Everyone has an issue. There's a problem. There's all these things that matters.
Before ending this roundtable, name your 5 favorite films of the year and your quick thoughts about that.
Number 5 will be Madison. I just love the aspect of like those two characters and the cat and mouse game that you're thinking you're watching, but it's not really the cat and mouse game. I think that was kind of cool. Number 4 is definitely Veera Sudan. As a longtime Vikram fan, and like the guy who's been thirsting for, like I felt like I was in the desert for years waiting for water, is what I felt like when I was watching Veera Sudan, and seeing my boy Vikram back to how he was is amazing. Number 3 would be Madarasi. I really like Madarasi a lot. I thought it was a different flavor for SRK. It brought back ARM from to his old ways, but it could have been cleaned up a bit more. But I just like the color palette, like the visual style as well was very strong. And of course, you got video, so hats off. Number 2 would definitely be Tourist Family. I really like Tourist Family. I just thought like it also as a Tamil myself. I know a lot of people didn't feel like represented, but I felt like it was pretty cool to see my people out there, kind of in a way. But also, like I love the father-son dynamics because it wasn't like hatred; it was love between them versus like hatred. So I like all those aspects about Tourist Family. And number 1, honestly, it's because of this call that I put this as number 1, Dragon. It just honestly now because I was talking about, I'm like, yo, this is actually a pretty awesome movie, and I enjoyed it a lot. Like I was rewatching it like literally a couple days ago. So,
so not in any specific order, but I'd have to say Tourist Family, Bison, Dragon, Coolie, and Madarasi. Honestly, like again, like I like Shivakarthikeyan's like different type of role. I felt like A.R. Murugadoss did come back, like he said, to his older element. I felt like that whole dynamic with the villain was also pretty good. Coolie, it was a glimpse into like fun Rajinikanth that maybe had been forgotten by the Nelsons and the Lokis and after Peta and what Kartik Subraj did, I felt like this was the closest we've gotten to the old Rajinikanth. That knuckle, the fun, the focusing on his eyes and his expressions and those focus shots that they had. And then Tourist Family was just a feel good movie. Good balance of elements, good comedy. And then Bison, great story. Pasupati's acting was great. But also, I like the fact that it played into nuances of situations, right? Not every situation is black and white. So that was nice. And then Dragon was fun because like I said at the very beginning when we started talking about it, it's the guy actually goes back to college, reforms, decides to be good, goes and works. We don't know that he faked a certificate, but then you find out about it later. And then so once he's actually got a life that he could sail away with, he decides that that's not what is the right thing to do, and then coming back. So those are the reasons.
Amazing.
I got to interject quickly because I forgot the Bison. I forgot about Bison. So Bison's number 5. Now I'm gonna give Marty some. Let's flip it. So yeah, there you go, Bison. Okay, just gotta throw it in there for record.
VG?
Wow, okay. Actually, since you're asking about Tamil movies, I had to bring up a list of movies I watched in big screen this year from what I remember. But Drag is definitely among the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because it was a complete, great Pakka entertainment, but it was, well, all the reasons are basically explained by everyone else in this, why I love it. And from how we reflected on it earlier, we know Drag in evlo sirapana padam. Another one is, I'm not how many people agree, Retro. I don't know. For me personally, Retro worked. There might be multiple plot lines going, but it felt that they all at some point merge and sync, and they complement each other. Surya not being able to laugh, we think that's a whole arc, but it also correlates to the fact that he comes from a group of people who have been oppressed and they've lost their laughter. And how is it that the love that he gets from Pooja Hegde is able to bring that out, and how will he do that love justice? And at the other time, fulfill his dhammo, his purpose, which Pooja Hegde as a character has imbibed in him. Like, all those 3 knots I felt personally tied well together in this movie. And yeah, and I'm not going to say this because I'm a Pakka Karthi Subraj fan or anything, but well, partially it's because of that, but I love the movie so much for that. Other Tavra, which other movie? Veeradhira Suran also was really satisfying. Marisin I loved so much as well for what it was, and it worked really well for me. I'm going to say Kubera as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we haven't discussed about Danish films actually.
Yeah, it might feel long for some, but I feel like the length was justified, and the story itself might seem a lot, but far-fetched or a lot or whatever. But it was a fascinating story. It was complex. It followed 3 characters equally. Dhanush, Nagarjuna, Rashmika's characters. Really good conflict and all that, and I felt it had a good resolution. So I personally enjoyed Kubera a lot. The most satisfying experience I had this year. It's the most recent one, and it's not even from this year.
Paper release.
We'll let it slide. It is my favorite film for all time.
I'm going to say this just in general. When I watched it yesterday, the 4K restoration, the sound design, everything, when I watched it in New York was actually, for the most part, really, really good. Like when you say you're watching a 90s movie, when you watch the old DVDs and all that, you always see there's the digital transfer is not really well done. You always see the grains. Sometimes you use an old you know, when you play movie print, on the movie print we play for too much, it degrades over time, right?
Yeah.
But and that's why sometimes they take that print and then they transfer it, and that's what we watch as a movie and we think, oh shit, that's how they look like back then. But no, they managed to find a good print, they restored it, and it looks like a movie that came out of the mid 2000s at least.
Oh, that's nice.
And they did it really well, and the sound design was, in how they restored and everything, was also really, really good. Plus, it was just so good to watch, you know, an old school Rajini of the super fitta with that voice and everything. Ramya Krishnan, everyone in their prime, just doing their thing. It was just super good.
My movies are not in any particular order, by the way, but I'm just kind of listing my, I guess 5 favorite movies of 2025. Veera Dhira Suran, Tourist Family, Marisen, either between Dragon or Madarasi, and then I just got started on this movie like right before this roundtable. I didn't think I mentioned it before, but Bison. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm an hour, like halfway through it. It seems like an amazing movie, and from the discussions here, I'm pretty sure I might like it. So I'm gonna add that here too. But yeah, I have to say, like, Veera Dhira Suran is like my type of film, and I regret not watching that in theaters when it came out. I watched it at home, although I did watch it on a projector at home. But it was a really good movie. Madison, I think I wish I watched that movie in theaters too and didn't listen to any reviews. But that was a really good movie. Tourist Family was just a nice, fun movie. I liked Dragon. Like for what we described in the roundtable discussions, it was it had a good message overall, and it was just entertaining. Madarasi, I think in the beginning they could have just chilled a bit on the suicide stuff. Like they didn't have to make it a comedy skit, but other than that, like I think it's a really good, return to form for A.R. Murugadas. Because he's a pretty good director. I really miss his movies, and so this wasn't his like absolute best, but not peak at all. But it was good. It was good. It was a good return to form. Bison. So far, I like what I'm seeing. But I don't know how else to comment. But I like what I'm seeing. I love the cinematography too and filmmaking aspects of it. I wish I watched that film in theaters too. But yeah. Those are, I guess, my top 5.
So Retro, I'm gonna put as a honorable mention because I actually did like it. I think sometimes when I wonder why these movies did like really bad, I think it's not even that bad, honestly. When you think about it, I think the meaning of the movie was not bad, and I think Vicky was also saying Surya's performance in that movie was really good, and I think that scene where he's trying his best to laugh but he just can't. I think that's absolute cinema. And I think the Santosh Narayanan's music was also good. Kanima, the BGMs. So this is a good movie. Of course, it had its flaws. And then so from another honorable mention is I think we haven't really talked about this, but the crime movies that came out this year. I think was it 11, DNA, Morgan. I really find crime movies really interesting. They're very engaging. I feel like crime movies, even if they're not the best, they're still in some way engaging. So that's one thing I like about it. And it reminds us of Ratsasan. It was a really good movie. So my 5th is Vinamurchi. So I know Vinamurchi didn't do really well, and I know a lot of people don't find it to be the best movie. But Vinamurchi is kind of like a personal thing. I think it's a movie that gets me going, gets me motivated. I've been kind of on a workout journey this year, so Ramurchi's music and the movie in general has been very motivating. I like the whole concept that Ajith's character, no matter what, will fight for his wife, even though like she cheated on him. But I like that concept. Like no matter what, she's still your wife. And then Coolie, of course, for my fourth. Of course, like it has its flaws, but we got to watch it for Rajni. We got to enjoy his movies. It's like we don't go for anything else. We go for Rajni. His aura, his style is it's just for him. And I think as for Coolie, I just enjoyed it for Rajni. For number three, to say Dragon. Dragon is a really good movie. I think we've talked about it a lot in this roundtable. Dragon is it's got a balance and it's got a good meaning to it. And then my second, I'd say Madarasi. The reason why I'm putting that as my second is because I'm like an action fan, and the action in this movie was unreal. I think it's really good. The whole idea of SK turning into an animal and like fighting like an animal, I think that's what I really liked about the movie, and also really told us that it showed us that he does indeed have that Thalapathy with him. So that's what I liked about it. And number one, I think everyone can agree with me on this. It's definitely Thug Life. It's the best movie of all time. No, I'm just kidding. First movie is definitely Taurus Family. I'd have to say that. I think I had a really fun time watching it. Really fun watch. I watched it with my mom and dad, and they really loved it.
This is a beautiful one.
So, yeah, it's a beautiful watch. And yeah, it's pretty much it.
So, on a closing note, what are your hopes for Tamil cinema in 2026?
There's only one hope I have, and it's that eventually they'll start releasing those movies again in Montreal.
Yes.
மத்தபடி எனக்கு எந்த ஹோப்பும் கிடையாது. After what Thug Life did to me this year, விண்வெளிக்கு எதுவும் போகல. It's all deep in the ground. I'm going to keep it that way. I'm going to keep it as minimal as possible. Even Jana Nayagan, I'm not going to go too crazy about it. I love Vijay, biggest fan, but I'm going to keep it super in check. Everything else, I'm going to keep it super in check. More than before. அடிபட்டு சொல்றேன் அவ்வளவுதான். ரொம்ப அடிபட்டு சொல்றேன்.
Ashwin?
I think for me, like after just this year of the movies, right? The smaller ones, the smaller budget movies being the better ones, but the big budget movies are, the movies I listed in our last roundtable that I was looking forward to not turning out the way I wanted it to, or the way I wished it turned out. I'm just not exactly looking forward to much in 2026. The only movie that I really am kind of looking forward to, but I don't want to overhype it, is Haasan. I don't think that's launching in 2026, but I'm looking forward to that one.
My hope in 2026 is that Jana Nayagan has to be good. I can't think about anything else. I mean, like 30 years of Vijay's film is coming to an end. So let's after January 9th, ask me this question. Maybe I have like different hopes for other movies. But right now I can't think of anything else except for Jana Nayagan. I just hope it's good. I hope it's a good send-off. There's too much writing on it, and I can't help it but be hyped. And regardless of how the movie is, like, I think it'll end up being something special.
For 2026, so before I get to 2026, for Tamil cinema in general, I have this I just wish that Tamil cinema starts doing quality over quantity. There's this thing that I wanted to bring up since the beginning of the roundtable, is that I feel like Tamil cinema has this obsession with making its first 1,000 crore movie. I think we need to stop that obsession and just start making quality movies. And I hope that starts next year. Obviously, that won't take like 1 year to fix. I feel like that will take years to fix, but I hope it starts in 2026. where we start to make, quality movies and not just movies like Coolie, where we just, get all these famous actors to do cameos and, and then like, Ashwin said, like profit off of the first day, first show income. But so as a Vijay fan for Jana Nayagan, I think I'm just gonna go in expecting to vibe, just see Vijay, just like how I watched Coolie, no expectations, just see Rajni. The same thing with Jana Nayagan, go in looking to enjoy his supposedly last movie.
My hope for Tamil cinema next year, honestly, is to have better films than what we had this year. When I was asked, like, when Kumar first asked me to do, like, jump on this roundtable call, I was like, I looked at the list, and even the films I said that was my top five were still hard films for me to say, like, they were great films. Like, I can't be like, I can't with my chest say it was like a great year for cinema, for Tamil cinema, because there was a lot of issues, a lot of problems that we were having across the board. And I think so hopefully next year, like I don't, because I don't even think I'm not even thinking about a lineup for 2026 for Tamil cinema. I don't know why. Nothing really stands out to me except for Jana Nayagan. I think we all spoke about it truthfully. For me, it's very crazy. I'm a Vijay fan, but I'm not like a big Vijay fan like most of my friends and all those guys I grew up around. But the crazy part is like Vijay's entire career is the same age as how old I am as an individual. I lived the entire extent of his career, so it's so weird for me to see him like just like because so basically since I was born, Vijay's been my life. So it's so weird to see like him leave. So I don't know, and I just hope that not for me because like honestly like I'm not a big H Vinod guy. The promos don't look interesting. The song, so I have zero hope. I don't have hope for Jana Nayagan. I just hope that at least for my friends and like the fans of Vijay get a proper send off, and H Vinod does a proper film instead of being a political film as he's putting it out to be, and just do something and not being Bhagavat Kesari. I just hope that that's where we're trying to read because anyway, so the whole point is I just hope that like it's a proper send off for Vijay on a whole. And that's pretty much. I think like with Vignesh, I support Vignesh. What he said was like I can't think of anything else beyond that right now because it's literally in 2 weeks. We're gonna see Jana Nayagan in like 4 weeks, technically, right? 3 weeks or so. We're gonna see it, and
Yeah,
that's
on the
insane.
9th. Yeah.
On the 9th, it's gonna happen sooner than we think, and we haven't seen that. There's no trailer. There's no promo song. And there's no other promo songs really enough because by now
Yeah.
we've got most of the songs out, but
Yeah.
even that's in the secret. So maybe they're trying to hold things back for the film.
I think they're waiting for the audio launch.
Maybe for the audio launch, but. Yeah, honestly, I just can't wait for the first day, first show.
Thank you all so much for hanging out, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you all so much.